Two houses collapsed after a cloudburst over a village of Jaunpur block of Tehri district of Uttarakhand. 7 people of the same family were buried under the rubble. The villagers pulled out 2 bodies from the rubble after a lot of effort. Rescue efforts are still going on to find the remaining 5 people. This tragedy has created a panic in the village. Union Minister of Health and Family Welfare Mansukh Mandaviya on Sunday visited the Postgraduate Institute of Medical Education and Research Satellite Centre in Punjab's Sangrur and reviewed its progress. The Noida woman who was arrested for misbehaving with a security guard in a housing society has been sent to 14-day judicial custody on Sunday. The woman, who was identified as Bhavya Rai, was arrested for allegedly abusing security personnel in the JP Vish Town, Noida, Sector 128. AIMIM Chief Asaduddin Owaisi appealed to PM Modi to bring justice to Bilkis Bano while addressing a public gathering at the Mehboob Nagar area. Now, on August 20th, this incident had happened. Now, AIMIM Chief highlighted the atrocities that was faced by Bilkis Bano in the Gujarat riots and the crime committed by the 11 accused of a rape who were given bail on August 15th. Pilots of an Indigo flight from Delhi to Kolkata have asked Kolkata ATC for priority landing after smoke was detected in the cargo hold area. Kolkata Air Traffic Control alerted the airport fire brigade for a safe landing for Indigo flight. Karnataka CM Bommai on Sunday claimed that he was unaware of the repentance of the leader of opposition in the state legislative assembly, Siddaramaiah, and on the Lingayat religion issue. Daughter of Russian nationalist ideologist who is often called Putin's brain was killed in a car accident. An investigating agency and the branch of the Moscow region informed that the blast was caused by a bomb planted in the SUV driven by Daria Dugina. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky warned that Russia could do something particularly cruel ahead of Ukraine's Independence Day on August 24th. He urged people to resist enemy pressure. Heavy flooding from seasonal rains in eastern Afghanistan overnight left at least 9 people dead, swept away homes and destroyed livestock and agricultural land. Officials informed that the death toll is likely to rise. 2 major traffic accidents in southern Turkey left at least 35 people dead. Officials said 15 people were killed when a passenger bus collided with emergency teams handling an earlier road accident some 250 kilometers away. The Turkish Interior Minister informed that 3 firefighters, 2 paramedics and 2 journalists were among those killed on the highway. The other 8 fatalities were on the bus, leaving 22 people injured. The former Mexican general attorney was taken to court hearing, facing charges of torture, official misconduct and forced disappearance in the case of the mass disappearance of 43 students in 2014. The former attorney's arrest came a day after government-led Truth Commission said the army bore at least partial responsibility in the case. Japanese PM Fumio Kishida has been diagnosed with the coronavirus on Sunday and cancelled his planned travels while he recuperates. Kishida developed a fever and cough late Saturday and tested positive for COVID-19 the very next day. China says it will try to protect its grain harvest from record-setting drought by using chemicals to generate rain. The country's southern Hubei province has started a 3-month-long cloud seeding project in a move to protect grain crops from drought. Reportedly, this is a dry summer in the country in the 6 decades. Former Pakistan PM Imran Khan has been booked under the anti-terrorism law. An FIR was registered for his speech yesterday over his threat to the IG Islamabad and female judge, alleging that establishment is not doing right. Pakistan's Media Regulatory Authority too has the broadcasting of live speeches of the PTI chief. Union Education Minister Dharmendra Pradhan received a warm welcome from the Indian diaspora in Australia, Sydney. In a tweet, he expressed gratitude to the vibrant Indian community for the love and affection. He also thanked his brothers and sisters for giving him a feeling of home away from home. More than 75 people have been killed, over 12,000 homes destroyed, and over 20,000 damaged by Sudan's seasonal downpours and floods. Drone footage from the province there showed a village and surrounding areas partially submerged by flood waters.
Karti, why is it becoming about enforcement director? How did 50 lakh rupees become 2,000 crores with the Congress party answer? Because you raised the issue of ED in the press conference. That's why it's being answered. Your party is raising the issue of ED only when the Gandhis are under scandal. This kind of protest never happened when you were under scandal, Karti. You should be able to speak about it, Karti.
जी आपने इस्तीफा दे दिया, भाजपा से क्या दिक्कत हो गई?
सब लोगों की इच्छा यही हुई है कि हम लोगों को एनडीए छोड़ देना चाहिए।
We are right now showing you the pictures of this flag march which is right now underway in Shimoga. A message is being sent out clearly to all the people who are breaking the law. They should be scared of the strong actions those are being taken.
अरविंद केजरीवाल जो देश को दुनिया का नंबर 1 देश बनाना चाहते हैं, मोदी जी को किस बात की चिंता?
Welcome back. You're watching This Morning, and news now from Russia. The daughter of a pro-Kremlin ideologue, Alexander Dugin, dubbed Putin's brain, was killed in a car explosion on Saturday. According to Russian media reports, the incident occurred on Saturday evening on the outskirts of the national capital, Moscow, when the far-right ideologue's daughter, Daria Dugina, was driving a car owned by Dugin. Here are the details.
Daria Dugina, daughter of Alexander Dugin, known to be the Russian President Vladimir Putin's closest aide, was allegedly killed in a car bomb explosion. Footage of the alleged explosion shows Daria Dugina's car engulfed in flames on the outskirts of Moscow. The incident is said to have occurred when Daria was traveling back home. According to an eyewitness, she heard the explosion in her house near the site where the incident occurred.
В районе половины 10-го вечера я находилась на рабочем месте, услышала хлопок входной двери. Секунд через 30 я вышла и увидела возгорание машины на Можайском шоссе. Пока стояла на улице, наверное, проследовало еще 4 или 5 таких же хлопков. Я поняла, что это взорвалась машина, но буквально через 3-4 минуты подъехали сотрудники спецслужб, подъехала полиция, пожарная. Пожар очень быстро потушили, все сработали оперативно.
The investigative committee has opened a criminal case over the blast. According to the investigation, an explosive device reportedly went off in Dugina's car, which caused the car to catch fire.
До настоящего времени на месте происшествия продолжают работу следователи и криминалисты Главного следственного управления СК России по Московской области совместно с коллегами из ГУК СК России, а также специалистами-взрывотехниками.
Meanwhile, Ukrainian authorities have denied any role in the explosion. Reports suggest that the vehicle belonged to her father and that he had decided at the last minute to leave in another car. No suspects have yet been identified and an investigation is underway. Daria Dugina was put on the UK sanctions list in July this year for providing support and promoting policies or actions which destabilize Ukraine. In between March and April this year, Daria Dugina was the face of Russia's defense of the war in Ukraine, appearing in global debates, a regular on the show with Arnab.
And the casualties are more and more civilians. Daria, this is making no sense. It's making no sense. Russia has to stop this deadliest phase of the war.
Thank you so much for the invitation. I would like to point out a very important thing which you have raised, the topic of the geopolitical confrontation between the West and the East. And actually, we all understand that this conflict is not the conflict between Ukraine and Russia. This is the conflict of two blocks, of the multipolarity and of the unipolarity. Unfortunately, Ukraine has been held as a live shield over this unipolar world. And the thing is that now, even if Ukraine intends to do the negotiations and Zelensky says that he is ready for that, the problem problem is that United States and NATO doesn't need that. So the Washington Post published recently a large article, which I would like to quote. It openly says that NATO will not accept any piece of Ukraine treaty with Russia. And actually there will be, the article explains that there will be pressure to the President Zelensky if he wants to stop the conflict. He will be blocked at the level of Verkhovna Rada, where Zelensky has no constitutional majority, or he will be brought down in the course of popular unrest of patriotic and minded Ukrainians. The thing is that now we are in a very dangerous situation, because the world free will be not the decision to start it will be not taken by Russia or Ukraine, but by the NATO.
In 2015, years before the Russia-Ukraine war, US had imposed sanctions on Alexander Dugin, cutting business ties and freezing his assets. Some European Union leaders too imposed sanctions on Alexander Dugin as a form of retaliation for Russia's annexation of Crimea. Who killed Daria Dugina? Was she targeted? Was her father the real target? And how will Putin now respond? Agency Report, Republic TV.
And in other international news, let's take a look at the top story. The first day of a planned strike at Britain's biggest container port started, joining a series of walkouts by transportation workers that have disrupted economic activity across the country. Almost 2,000 workers at the port of Felixstowe walked off the job over pay, raising fears of severe supply chain problems. More than 75 people have been killed, over 12,000 homes destroyed, and over 20,000 damaged by Sudan's seasonal downpours and floods. Drone footage from Al Jazeera province showed a village and surrounding area partially submerged by flood waters. Tensions are high in Kosovo following the collapse of political talks between Serbian and Kosovan leaders earlier this week, mediated by the European Union in Brussels in a fiery television address. Serbia's president called on NATO to do its job in Kosovo, or he says Serbia itself will move to protect its minority in the breakaway province. And coming up next on Republic TV, all the news on Delhi liquor scam getting bigger by the day. A massive TRS link seen emerging now. Also, as BJP and Aam Aadmi Party face off, the story gets bigger. Agencies closing on others accused in the case, and bigger links likely soon. All the details here on Republic. Stay tuned and keep watching.
जी आपने इस्तीफा दे दिया, भाजपा से क्या दिक्कत हो गई?
सब लोगों की इच्छा यही हुई है कि हम लोगों को एनडीए छोड़ देना चाहिए।
We are right now showing you the pictures of this flag march, which is right now underway in Shimoga. A message is being sent out clearly to all the people who are breaking the law. They should be scared of the strong actions those are being taken.
अरविंद केजरीवाल जो देश को दुनिया का नंबर 1 देश बनाना चाहते हैं, मोदी जी को किस बात की चिंता है? लुकआउट नोटिस जारी करो। आपको देश की जनता 2024 में पूरे देश से ऑल आउट करेंगे।
लुकआउट नोटिस का मतलब ये है कि अपराध बहुत बड़ा है। अपने अंतिम निष्कर्ष पे पहुंचे सीबीआई, और हम दूध का दूध पानी का पानी होने का इंतजार कर रहे हैं।
वेव ऑफ की बात करी जाती है कि वेव ऑफ क्यों करें, उसके अलावा बात करी जाती है कि रोल बैक क्यों करी गई वो पॉलिसी, उस पर आप क्या कहेंगे? 24 घंटे पहले
जी आपने इस्तीफा दे दिया, भाजपा से क्या दिक्कत हो गई?
सब लोगों की इच्छा यही हुई है कि हम लोगों को एनडीए छोड़ देना चाहिए।
Top headlines at 7 a.m. Mystery over girl's death in MP quarters in the national capital. How did the girl fall off MP quarters? Delhi liquor scam is getting bigger day by day. Massive TRS link now emerges. Amid the BJP and AAP face-off, the story gets bigger as agencies close in on the others accused in the case. More bigger links likely soon. After Shivamoga, showdown over Savarkar poster reaches Karnataka's Dharwad district. 8 Congress workers booked by Karnataka police for allegedly burning the posters of Savarkar in Dharwad. Daughter of Russian President Putin's closest aide allegedly killed in car bomb explosion. Good morning. Thanks for tuning in this Monday morning. I'm Samiksha Srivastava. Lots lined up for you in this edition. Straight away, starting with our top focus, the political face-off continues between the BJP and the AAP amid claims and counter-claims in the Delhi's liquor excise policy that has now been rolled back. While the AAP has questioned the raid and alleged the central agencies are being misused by the BJP, the latter has called Kejriwal the kingpin of the scam.
The political face-off continues between the BJP and AAP amid claims and counter-claims in the Delhi liquor excise policy scam. While the AAP questions raid and alleges the central agencies being misused by the BJP,
प्रधानमंत्री जी अब 24 घंटे यही सोच रहे हैं कि मैं सीबीआई को किसके घर भेजूं, ईडी को किसके घर भेजूं, रेड किसके घर कराऊं, लुकआउट नोटिस किसको दिलाऊं, सरकार किसकी गिरवाऊं। ये दुर्भाग्यपूर्ण है पर है।
आदरणीय प्रधानमंत्री जी जब विपक्ष में थे तो सीबीआई के बारे में क्या कहा करते थे कि 5-7 साल पहले सीबीआई का दुरुपयोग हो रहा था। केंद्र सरकार सीबीआई में गुजरात के मंत्रियों को जेल में डाल रही थी।
लुटेरों को, बेईमानों को, हत्या में शामिल लोगों को जो लोग अपने साथ लेके घूमते हैं, भारतीय जनता पार्टी के लोगों, अपना इतिहास याद कर लो। तुम उस पार्टी के नेता हो जिसका राष्ट्रीय अध्यक्ष रक्षा सौदे में कैमरे पर दलाली लेते हुए पकड़ा गया।
the BJP continues to train guns on AAP and Arvind Kejriwal.
फॉर्मेलिटी होती है तो आप कहीं भाग भी नहीं सकते हो, क्योंकि जब भागना चाहिए था, जब अपने आप को बचाना चाहिए था 6 महीने पहले जो आपने किया, अब आप भाग भी नहीं पाएंगे। ठीक है, ये जो न्यूयॉर्क टाइम्स में ऐड दिखाना, ये जो बाकी चीज़ें करना, ये भोली सी शक्ल सीएम लेके आनी, ठीक है, हर चीज़ झूठ बोलना, बहुत वक्त हो गया, 7 साल हो गए। अब इनका वक्त आ गया एक्सपोज होने का और ये अब अच्छे तरीके से एक्सपोज होंगे। जो गलती करी है उसकी सजा इनको भुगतनी पड़ेगी।
And now Congress too is questioning the Kejriwal government.
शराब पीने की आयु 25 वर्ष से घटाकर 21 वर्ष करी जा रही थी। 3 बजे सवेरे तक शराब बेची जाए, खुले में शराब पिलाई जाए, ये काम अरविंद केजरीवाल जी की आम आदमी पार्टी की सरकार कर रही थी। तो इस पार्टी के जन्म पर तो संदेह था ही, इसकी राजनीति पर संदेह है।
And though Delhi Deputy Chief Minister Manish Sisodia claims vendetta,
ये कह रहे हैं कि भाई इतने हजारों करोड़ का घोटाला हुआ है, सीबीआई भेजी, 14 घंटे रेड कराई, मैं सुबह सो के उठा था तभी सीबीआई पहुंच गई वहाँ पे। मेरे घर से क्या मिला? कुछ मेरे कपड़े, मेरे बीवी के कपड़े, मेरे बच्चे के कपड़े, कुछ फाइलें सरकार की एक मंत्री के घर में। इसके अलावा क्या ले गए? वो उनको ले गए, मेरा कंप्यूटर ले गए, मेरे घर से कोई नोट निकले, मेरे घर से कुछ ऐसी चीज़ें निकली। क्या निकला? कुछ भी नहीं निकला। एक पैसे के भ्रष्टाचार का कोई सबूत नहीं निकला।
Sisodia may have to wade through more troubled waters with the CBI handing over the case files to the ED. As the CBI issues lookout notice to other 8 accused in the case, it needs to be seen if the ED too would file a fresh FIR in the matter.
जिसको स्वास्थ्य, चिकित्सा, दवाई, बेड और ऑक्सीजन पर ध्यान देना था, अरविंद केजरीवाल की भ्रष्टाचारी कलम आबकारी नीति पे दस्तखत करने में लगी थी। मनीष सिसोदिया वो अकाउंटेंट बन के ये देख रहे थे कि आम आदमी पार्टी के खजाने में जनता के पैसे की कितनी लूट आएगी.
BJP may seek answers, but would Kejriwal reply to the allegations?
केजरीवाल अपने को इतना बड़ा समझते हैं कि देश का प्राइम मिनिस्टर बनने वाले हैं. 2 स्टेट में सत्ता में हैं वो लोग और दोनों स्टेट मिलकर 20 पार्लियामेंट्री सीट है. अभी पता नहीं एक भी सीट उनके हाथ में है कि नहीं. एक तो रिजाइन कर दिए थे, तो वो प्राइम मिनिस्टर बनने का स्वप्न देख रहे हैं और उनको लग रहा है कि इसीलिए उनको टारगेट बनाया जा रहा है. ठीक है, उसका एक सीमा भी होनी चाहिए.
And after Satyendra Jain, would another AAP minister come under the ED scanner needs to be seen. Bureau Report, Republic TV.
Now, as Delhi's liquor scam is getting bigger by the day, a massive TRS link has now emerged in the scam, according to sources. TRS Neta and family members are now under scanner of the CBI in this excise policy. The case that has been lodged against the Deputy Chief Minister of the National Capital.
The Delhi liquor scam is getting bigger day by day. A massive TRS link has now emerged in the scam. As per sources, a TRS politician and family members are now under the scanner of the CBI in the excise policy case. The Enforcement Directorate will be examining the foreign remittances of event management companies linked to the excise policy. This comes hours after the CBI issued lookout notices against 8 private persons named in the FIR in the Delhi excise policy case. Sisodia had earlier claimed a lookout notice was issued against him in the excise policy matter being probed by the CBI and termed the move drama. Sisodia is among 15 individuals and entities named in the FIR registered by the CBI in connection with alleged irregularities in the implementation of Delhi government's excise policy 2021-22. Bureau Report, Republic TV.
Now, in a latest update, 8 Congress workers have been booked by the Karnataka police for allegedly burning the poster of Hindutva ideologue Vinayak Damodar Savarkar in the Dharwad district. The FIR was in fact registered by the police based on a complaint that was filed by a Bajrang Dal activist.
Amid tensions prevailing in Karnataka's Shivamoga district over Savarkar's flex, similar incidents have now been reported from the neighbouring Dharwad district. Veer Savarkar's posters were installed on the backdrop of Independence Day celebrations in the district. However, they were removed and burnt. BJP and Bajrang Dal workers staged a massive protest demanding the arrest of those who burnt Savarkar's posters. 8 Congress workers have been booked by Karnataka police for allegedly burning the poster of Savarkar in the Dharwad district. Clashes have been reported in many cities across Karnataka. There is tension in the state after the posters of Savarkar were torn down first in Shivamoga, then Mangaluru, then Chikmagaluru, Tumkuru, and now in Dharwad. Bureau Report, Republic TV.
And on to some breaking news coming in. This one from Madhya Pradesh, where another incident which happened, something similar which happened in Noida just yesterday has come to light from MP's Gwalior, where a woman was seen assaulting an auto driver in a state of intoxication. And in fact, the vandalism continued even after the arrival of the police, who merely stood and watched the entire spectacle. The incident was reported in Central Park Hotel, city centre in Gwalior. So after Noida, another such incident coming to light, this one from Gwalior, where a woman was seen assaulting, manhandling an auto driver, and this even as the people there stood as mere spectators.
मेरी तो कोई गलती भी नहीं लो, मैं तो यहाँ बैठा हूँ। आप उनको पकड़ो ना, मेरी कोई गलती भी नहीं है।
And a quick roundup of news in brief. The row over the reported lookout circular against Delhi Deputy CM in connection with the excise policy case registered by the CBI was put to rest after the agency issued a lookout circular against 8 accused, all private persons in the case. Union Home Minister Amit Shah visited Telangana on Sunday. On his one-day visit in Telangana, Amit Shah addressed a public meet in Telangana's Munugode in conjunction with Munugode constituency by-polls. Later in the day, Amit Shah met Tollywood actor in Hyderabad. Farmers have called for agitation in the national capital today. Western UP, Haryana, Punjab farmers have left for the national capital. Farmers have started reaching the national capital. Notably, after stopping the farmer leader Rakesh Tikait at the Ghazipur border, the Delhi police took him into custody but later was released. A proposal is being discussed upon naming 23 AIIMS after local heroes, freedom fighters, unsung heroes on historical monuments of the area. The Union Health Ministry has even started a draft proposal to give specific names to all AIIMS, which include those which are fully functional, partially functional and under construction. Union Minister for Road Transport and Highways Nitin Gadkari announced his decision to make Indian roads infrastructure up to the road infrastructure standards of the US before the end of 2024. The minister, while addressing the National Conference for Civil Engineers and Professionals from Allied Industries in Mumbai.
India has got a huge potential. You are all the architect of modern India. We have to make Indian infrastructure of world standard. I have decided to make Indian road infrastructure before end of 24 to making it up to the road infrastructure of USA.
Now, in news coming in from Bihar, where a shocking incident came to light, an angry mob was seen pelting stones at the convoy of Chief Minister Nitish Kumar. While the Chief Minister was not in the convoy, sources in the know informed that people were protesting against the deteriorating law and order situation in the state of Bihar. Here's a full report.
Bihar Chief Minister Nitish Kumar's claims of having immense public support seems to be falling flat. In a shocking incident, an angry mob pelted stones at the convoy of the Chief Minister as it passed through the Sogi village in Patna. Sources in the know informed that people were protesting against the kidnapping and murder of a young man. The crowd pelted stones at the convoy to vent out their anger towards the deteriorating law and order situation in the state. However, Nitish Kumar narrowly escaped the anger as he was on his way to Gaya via a helicopter to conduct a meeting on the drought situation. The protest comes hours after Deputy Chief Minister and RJD leader Tejaswi Yadav said that Kumar could be a strong candidate for the Prime Minister's post. Bureau Report, Republic TV.
And more updates coming in on the same story after stones were hurled at Chief Minister Nitish Kumar's cavalcade in Patna on Sunday, following which 11 arrests have been made. Now remember, the incident happened at around 5 p.m. at Sodi More in Gauri Chowk police station area when a road blockade was underway. In fact, the latest what we understand is that 11 arrests have been made in connection with this incident where stones were pelted at the convoy of Nitish Kumar. It has been said that Nitish Kumar was not in this convoy when the stones were hurled at the convoy. So latest what we understand is that those accused have been arrested. 11 arrests have been made in connection with this incident when the angry mob was seen pelting stones at Nitish Carcade. In fact, Nitish's convoy was damaged as well after the mob was seen pelting stones. It was the convoy, we are told, was being sent for Nitish's Gaya visit. And getting in visuals of the Indian Coast Guard, who was seen rescuing 8 Sri Lankans, including 3 children and an infant as well, who had been stranded for 3 days on the 4th sand dune island in the middle of the sea near Dhanukoshodi. Take a look.
Amity has been ranked India's #1 private university for the 10th year by India Today, a testimony to Amity's world-class education whilst imbibing values and sanskars in students.
We are right now showing you the pictures of this flag march which is right now underway in Shimoga. A message is being sent out clearly to all the people who are breaking the law. They should be scared of the strong actions those are being taken.
अरविंद केजरीवाल जो देश को दुनिया का #1 देश बनाना चाहते हैं, मोदी जी को किस बात की चिंता है? लुकआउट नोटिस जारी करो। आपको देश की जनता 2024 में पूरे देश से ऑल आउट करेंगे।
लुकआउट नोटिस का मतलब ही है कि अपराध बहुत बड़ा है। अपने अंतिम निष्कर्ष पे पहुंचे सीबीआई और हम दूध का दूध पानी का पानी होने का इंतजार कर रहे हैं।
वेव ऑफ की बात करी जाती है कि वेव ऑफ क्यों करें, उसके अलावा बात करी जाती है कि रोल बैक क्यों करी गई वो पॉलिसी, उस पर आप क्या कहेंगे? 24 घंटे पहले ही मेरे घर 14 घंटे की रेड कराई। आप बताओ कहाँ ना मैं आने को तैयार हूँ। ये लुकआउट नोटिस, ये नौटंकी किस लिए कर रहे हो? क्योंकि रेड में कुछ नहीं निकला। मुद्दे की बात करो। मुद्दे की बात यह है कि आज अरविंद केजरीवाल से डर क्यों लग रहा है। आज अरविंद केजरीवाल जी इनको स्वास्थ्य मंत्री को आपने जेल में भेज दिया, अब शिक्षा मंत्री को जेल में भेजने वाले हो। अरविंद केजरीवाल से इतना घबरा रहे हो?
Karti, why is it becoming about enforcement director? How did 50 lakh rupees became 2,000 crores with the Congress party answer? Because you raised the issue of ED in the press conference. That's why it's being asked. Your party is raising the issue of ED only when the Gandhis are under scandal. This kind of protest never happened when you were under scandal, Karti. You should be able to speak about it, Karti.
जी आपने इस्तीफा दे दिया, भाजपा से क्या दिक्कत हो गई?
सब लोगों की इच्छा यही हुई है कि हम लोगों को एनडीए छोड़ देना चाहिए।
We are right now showing you the pictures of this flag march which is right now underway in Shimoga. A message is being sent out clearly to all the people who are breaking the law. They should be scared of the strong actions those are being taken.
अरविंद केजरीवाल जो देश को दुनिया का #1 देश बनाना चाहते हैं, मोदी जी को किस बात की चिंता है? लुकआउट नोटिस जारी करो। आपको देश की जनता 2024 में पूरे देश से ऑल आउट करेंगे।
लुकआउट नोटिस का मतलब ही है कि अपराध बहुत बड़ा है। अपने अंतिम निष्कर्ष पे पहुंचे।
Welcome back. On to some more breaking news coming in. This one with regard to an Indigo flight from Delhi to Kolkata that suffered a false cargo smoke warning before landing on Sunday, and aviation regulator DGCA has ordered probe into this incident. We have Kishle also joining us from the Bangla newsroom. Kishle, if you could give us more details on this incident where an Indigo flight suffered a false cargo smoke warning.
Exactly, Samiksha. Multiple incidences of technical snags in flights raises questions about the safety of these flights and passengers. What happened yesterday was there was this flight of Indigo which was coming from Delhi to Kolkata, and suddenly the pilot got the crew got a signal from the cargo that there is a smoke in the cargo, and therefore a distress call was made. Mayday was called, and the flight landed as emergency landing in Kolkata airport. However, later on it was found that it was a spurious case and there was no case of smoke. There was no smoke in the cargo and it was a technical snag. The DGCA, as you have rightly put, has launched an investigation and they are trying to understand what exactly caused the technical snag which caused this fire smoke alarm, which was false, and there was no smoke actually in the cargo, and the 160 people flight was almost taking an emergency landing in Kolkata airport. And finally there are questions about all these flights and all these flights which comes from Indigo or SpiceJet and other airlines which are having this technical snags. So questions are being raised whether these flights actually go through proper examinations before they take off or before they land, and whether the technical part of all these flights that are being operated by these airlines are properly checked by technical team before the flights are taken. DGCA is trying to understand that, and Indigo officials are also in touch with DGCA about this particular technical snag that happened in this flight from Delhi to Kolkata, which raised a false case of smoke alarm without a proper smoke, without any smoke in the cargo of that flight, of that particular plane.
All right, Kishle, thank you so much. It's high time that measures are taken to prevent the technical snags. Thank you for the moment. We'll keep coming back to you for more on that. And on to more news then. In an effort to resolve boundary disputes in 6 remaining areas of differences, the Assam and Meghalaya have decided to form 3 regional committees that will be headed by cabinet ministers from both Assam as well as Meghalaya. The states arrived at this consensus after the 9th meet that was held between the Assam Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sarma and the Meghalaya Chief Minister Conrad Sangma on border talks.
In a major breakthrough, Chief Ministers of Assam and Meghalaya decided to form 3 regional level committees to settle dispute between the state in 6 border areas. The decision was taken at the Chief Ministers level meeting held at Janta Bhavan in Assam on Sunday. Assam Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sarma and Meghalaya CM Conrad Sangma addressed a joint briefing on border talks. Both the states have committed to settling the disputes in the remaining 6 out of 12 sites through a series of talks by forming regional committee in the first phase.
Assam and Meghalaya has signed a historical memorandum of understanding resolving 6 disputes out of the 12 disputes raised by Government of Meghalaya in August 2011.
The Chief Ministers from both states decided today at the 9th Chief Ministers level meeting to form 3 regional committees to lead the way in resolving the remaining 6 areas of differences.
We were able to come to an understanding in 6 of the areas of differences out of the total 12 areas of differences. Based on that MOU, the Survey of India and the 2 state governments have started surveying and demarking the different borders that should be there between the 2 states.
Notably, an MOU was signed between the 2 states on March 29, 2022 in the presence of Union Home Minister Amit Shah, clearing the way for the resolution of the 6 disputed sites. Bureau Report, Republic TV.
Now, in news from Telangana, Union Home Minister Amit Shah on Sunday accused the Telangana government of betraying the trust of the people of the state, while also calling the KCR government anti-farmer government. The remarks of the Home Minister come, in fact, it came at a public meeting that was held during his one-day visit to the state.
Ahead of the crucial 2023 Telangana polls, Union Minister Amit Shah landed in KCR's turf, Telangana. Ahead of his visit, Amit Shah offered prayers at Sri Ujjaini Mahakali Mata Devasthanam in Telangana. He then addressed a mega public gathering. Union Minister Amit Shah ripped into KCR-led government.
आज राजगोपाल रेड्डी भाजपा में टीआरएस की सरकार को उखाड़ने के लिए शामिल हो रहे हैं। मेरे साथ दोनों हाथ उठाइए, उठाइए दोनों हाथ, विजय के विश्वास की मुट्ठी बींचिए।
He accused KCR government of betraying people's trust and called it an anti-farmer government.
एक KCR एंड कंपनी जो है वो वादा खिलाफी करने वाली कंपनी है। उन्होंने कहा था तेलंगाना के हर बेरोजगार युवा को 3,000 रुपया देंगे, आपको मिलता है क्या?
Shah also hit out at KCR over Kaleshwaram lift irrigation project and said that it is the ATM of KCR's family.
2014 से शिक्षा में भर्तियां बंद है। भर्ती अगर चालू है तो केसीआर के परिवार में चालू है, बाकी कहीं भर्ती नहीं होती है मित्रों, कहीं भर्ती नहीं होती।
Amit Shah said that the countdown to uproot the TRS government in the state has begun.
मैं आपको कहता हूं, इस विधानसभा में उपचुनाव रेड्डी जी को जिता दो, मैं गारंटी देता हूं केसीआर की भ्रष्टाचारी सरकार यूं चली जाएगी।
Before winding up his power-packed one-day visit to Telangana, Amit Shah also met with different farmer groups at Begumpet Airport. Later in the day, he met Tollywood star Junior NTR at a hotel in Hyderabad. With Amit Shah's visit, BJP has positioned itself as the main opponent to TRS ahead of the crucial 2023 Telangana polls. Bureau Report, Republic TV.
Slipping into a very short break for now. Don't go anywhere. World This Morning coming up on the other side of this very short break. Daughter of Russian President Putin's closest aide allegedly killed in car bomb explosion. Details on the other side.
अरविंद केजरीवाल जो देश को दुनिया का नंबर 1 देश बनाना चाहते हैं, मोदी जी को किस बात की चिंता है? लुकआउट नोटिस जारी करो। आपको देश की जनता 2024 में पूरे देश से ऑल आउट करेगी।
लुकआउट नोटिस का मतलब ये है कि अपराध बहुत बड़ा है। अपने अंतिम निष्कर्ष पे पहुंचे सीबीआई और हम दूध का दूध पानी का पानी होने का इंतजार कर रहे हैं।
वेव ऑफ की बात करी जाती है कि वेव ऑफ क्यों करें, उसके अलावा बात करी जाती है कि रोल बैक क्यों करी गई वो पॉलिसी, उस पर आप क्या करें? 24 घंटे पहले ही मेरे घर 14 घंटे की रेड करें। आप बताओ कहाँ ना मैं आने को तैयार। ये लुकआउट नोटिस, ये नोटंकी किस लिए कर रहे हो? क्योंकि रेड में कुछ नहीं निकला। मुद्दे की बात करो। मुद्दे की बात यह है कि आज अरविंद केजरीवाल से डर क्यों लग रहा है। आज अरविंद केजरीवाल जी इनके स्वास्थ्य मंत्री को आपने जेल में भेज दिया, अब शिक्षा मंत्री को जेल में भेजने वाले हो। अरविंद केजरीवाल से इतना घबरा रहे हो?
Karti, why is it becoming about enforcement director? How did 50 lakh rupees became 2,000 crores with the Congress party answer? Because you raised the issue of ED in the press conference. That's why it's being asked. Your party is raising the issue of ED only when the Gandhis are under scandal. This kind of protest never happened when you were under scandal, Karti. You should be able to speak about it, Karti.
जी आपने इस्तीफा दे दिया, भाजपा से क्या दिक्कत हो गई?
सब लोगों की इच्छा यही हुई है कि हम लोगों को एनडीए छोड़ देना चाहिए।
We are right now showing you the pictures of this flag march which is right now underway in Shimoga. A message is being sent out clearly to all the people who are breaking the law. They should be scared of the strong actions those are being taken. We are right now showing you the pictures of this flag march which is right now underway in Shimoga. A message is being sent out clearly to all the people who are breaking the law. They should be scared of the strong actions those are being taken.
And the headlines now from across the globe. A daughter of Russian President Putin's closest aide allegedly killed in car bomb explosion. Trouble mounts for Imran Khan as a former Pakistan Prime Minister is now booked under anti-terrorism law. Two separate road accidents claim 35 lives in Turkey. Deadly floods hit Afghanistan. 9 reported dead so far. Six months into war, Russia-Ukraine conflict sees no end. Russia claims another deadly attack on Ukrainian facility. Hello and welcome to World This Morning on Republic. I'm Rukma and our top story. Breaking news coming in, a Hindu sanitary worker, Ashok Kumar, has been booked under 295B of blasphemy over alleged desecration of the Quran in Pakistan's Hyderabad. The allegation came after a brawl with a shopkeeper, Bilal Abbasi, who then lodged the complaint against Kumar. Hyderabad police dispersed a violent mob which was demanding the handing over of the Hindu sanitary worker, accusing him of blasphemy. Police claim the sanitary worker was targeted because of a personal clash with a local resident. So a Hindu sanitary worker in Pakistan's Hyderabad arrested on the charge of blasphemy, of desecrating the Quran. But sources suggest that the mob came for him, demanding that he be arrested, was actually doing so on the instigation of a local resident with whom Ashok Kumar, the Hindu sanitary worker arrested in Pakistan's Hyderabad, had a personal conflict. And more news from Pakistan, this time about its former Prime Minister Imran Khan. The Pakistan media has banned broadcasting of live speeches of the former Prime Minister on all satellite television channels with immediate effect. Hours after Imran Khan threatened state institutions and government officials while addressing a rally in Islamabad. He has been booked under the anti-terrorism law over his threatening speech earlier. So Imran Khan booked under the anti-terrorism law, the former Pakistani Prime Minister, accused of making threatening speeches at a public function in Islamabad a few days ago. And he has been booked now under the anti-terrorism law. And authorities are suggesting that he has threatened state institutions. And his speeches, his live speeches and other speeches have been banned on all satellite channels inside Pakistan. So Imran Khan booked under anti-terrorism law. Let's listen in to understand more.
मैं आज तहरीक इंसाफ के कारकुनान को ये कहना चाहता हूं, आप तैयार रहें।
इमरान तेरे जानिसार
सुनिए बेटा, बाद में करेंगे। आप तैयार रहें और पार्टी की कॉल के मुंतजर रहें। हम पुरअमन लोग हैं, हम जमहूरी लोग हैं। हमने आईन के और कानून के दायरे के अंदर रहते हुए अपनी सियासी जदोजहद जारी रखनी है। लेकिन अगर आपने तजावुज किया, अगर आपने हमारे घर की दहलीज को फलांगा, तो उसके नतायज के जिम्मेदार वजीर आजम शहबाज शरीफ साहब आप होंगे।
So breaking news coming in about former Pakistan Prime Minister Imran Khan, booked under the country's anti-terrorism law, accused of making threatening speeches against state institutions. And this is born of an incident which took place as he addressed a public rally in Islamabad. He is now booked under the country's anti-terrorism law. And moving on now to news from Russia, the daughter of a pro-Kremlin ideologue, Alexander Dugin, dubbed Putin's brain, was killed in a car explosion on Saturday. According to Russian media reports, the incident occurred on Saturday evening on the outskirts of the national capital, Moscow, when the far-right ideologue's daughter, Daria Dugina, was driving a car owned by Dugin. Take a look.
Daria Dugina, daughter of Alexander Dugin, known to be the Russian President Vladimir Putin's closest aide, was allegedly killed in a car bomb explosion. Footage of the alleged explosion shows Daria Dugina's car engulfed in flames on the outskirts of Moscow. The incident is said to have occurred when Daria was traveling back home. According to an eyewitness, she heard the explosion in her house near the site where the incident occurred.
В районе половины 10-го вечера я находилась на рабочем месте, услышала хлопок входной двери. Секунд через 30 я вышла и увидела возгорание машины на Можайском шоссе. Пока стояла на улице, наверное, проследовало еще 4 или 5 таких же хлопков. Я поняла, что это взорвалась машина, но буквально через 3-4 минуты подъехали сотрудники спецслужб, подъехала полиция, пожарная. Пожар очень быстро потушили, все сработали оперативно.
The investigative committee has opened a criminal case over the blast. According to the investigation, an explosive device reportedly went off in Dugina's car, which caused the car to catch fire.
До настоящего времени на месте происшествия продолжают работу следователи и криминалисты Главного следственного управления СК России по Московской области совместно с коллегами из ГУК СК России, а также специалистами-взрывотехниками.
Meanwhile, Ukrainian authorities have denied any role in the explosion. Reports suggest that the vehicle belonged to her father and that he had decided at the last minute to leave in another car. No suspects have yet been identified and an investigation is underway. Daria Dugina was put on the UK sanctions list in July this year for providing support and promoting policies or actions which destabilize Ukraine. In between March and April this year, Daria Dugina was the face of Russia's defense of the war in Ukraine, appearing in global debates, a regular on the show with Arnab.
And the casualties are more and more civilians. Daria, this is making no sense. It's making no sense. Russia has to stop this deadliest phase of the war.
Thank you so much for the invitation. I would like to point out a very important thing which you have raised, the topic of the geopolitical confrontation between the West and the East. And actually, we all understand that this conflict is not the conflict between Ukraine and Russia. This is the conflict of two blocks, of the multipolarity and of the unipolarity. Unfortunately, Ukraine has been held as a live shield over this unipolar world. And the thing is that now, even if Ukraine intends to do the negotiations and Zelensky says that he is ready for that, the problem problem is that United States and NATO doesn't need that. So the Washington Post published recently a large article, which I would like to quote. It openly says that NATO will not accept any piece of Ukraine treaty with Russia. And actually there will be, the article explains that there will be pressure to the President Zelensky if he wants to stop the conflict. He will be blocked at the level of Verkhovna Rada, where Zelensky has no constitutional majority, or he will be brought down in the course of popular unrest of patriotic and minded Ukrainians. The thing is that now we are in a very dangerous situation, because the world free will be not, the decision to start it will be not taken by Russia or Ukraine, but by the NATO.
In 2015, years before the Russia-Ukraine war, US had imposed sanctions on Alexander Dugin, cutting business ties and freezing his assets. Some European Union leaders too imposed sanctions on Alexander Dugin as a form of retaliation for Russia's annexation of Crimea. Who killed Daria Dugina? Was she targeted? Was her father the real target? And how will Putin now respond? Agency report, Republic TV.
And in other news, massive floods have been witnessed in eastern Afghanistan, due to which the country faces huge devastation and casualties. Here's what it looks like.
A major tragedy unfolded in eastern Afghanistan as heavy flooding from the seasonal rains overnight left at least 9 people dead. It also swept away homes and destroyed livestock and agricultural land. The head of Logar province's Natural Disaster Management Ministry said it was still unknown how many were killed and injured by the rising waters, but there were at least 9 fatalities.
مړو د زخمیانو شمیر د دقیق راپورونه موږ ته نه راځي، کله د 1200 شمیره راته راسي، کله د 9 شمیره راسي، کله د کم اضافه د دقیق شمیره نشته، ځکه اوس په دغه حالت کې د خلک راغلي دي د شپې چې وتلي و د ورځې د باز خپل مړي وژغي.
Videos showed villagers in the Kushi district of Logar province, south of the Afghan capital of Kabul, cleaning up after the flooding, their damaged homes in disarray.
سیل بود که در تاریخ خوشی سابقه نداشت و تخریباتش تمام معاشی مردم، خانه‌های مردم، زمین زراعتی، هیچ چیز برای مردم باقی نمانده، کلش از بین برد و مردم فعلا بی سرپناه هستند، مردم هر طرف در کوه بر آمدند.
Last week, heavy rains set off flash floods that killed 31 people and left dozens missing in northern Afghanistan. Agency report, Republic TV.
News from Turkey now. 2 major traffic accidents in the southern part of the country have left at least 35 people dead. Officials say 15 people were killed when a passenger bus collided with emergency teams handling an earlier road accident some 250 kilometers to the west of Derek. Take a look.
2 major traffic accidents in southern Turkey left at least 35 people dead. Officials said 15 people were killed when passenger bus collided with emergency teams handling an earlier road accident some 250 kilometers to the west of Derek. 3 firefighters, 2 paramedics and 2 journalists were among those who killed in this incident occurred on the highway, whereas the other 8 casualties were on the bus. Local agencies said that 2 of its journalists were killed after pulling over to help the victims of the initial accident, in which a car came off the highway and slid down an embankment. Footage showed an ambulance with severe damage to its rear while the bus lay on its side alongside the highway. A separate incident in Derek occurred when the brakes of an articulated truck failed, causing it to crash into 2 other vehicles near a gas station. A short while later, an emergency team tended to the casualties of the first incident and crowds gathered to watch. A second truck lost control and plowed into the scene. A police officer was among the dead and 2 drivers were detained as an investigation into the incident was launched. Turkey has a poor record of road safety. As per government reports, some 5,362 people were killed in traffic accidents last year. Agency report, Republic TV.
And in other international news, the first day of a planned strike at Britain's biggest container port started, joining a series of walkouts by transportation workers that have disrupted economic activity across the country. Almost 2,000 workers at the port of Felixstowe walked off the jobs over pay, raising fears of severe supply chain problems. More than 75 people have been killed, over 12,000 homes destroyed and over 20,000 damaged by Sudan's seasonal downpours and floods. Drone footage from Al Jazeera province showed a village and surrounding area partially submerged by flood waters. Tensions are high in Kosovo following the collapse of political talks between Serbian and Kosovo leaders earlier this week, mediated by the European Union in Brussels. In a fiery television address, Serbia's president called on NATO to do its job in Kosovo. Or he said, Serbia itself will move to protect its minority in the breakaway province. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky warns Russia could do something particularly cruel ahead of Ukraine's Independence Day on August 24th. He urged people to resist enemy pressure. Peru's President Pedro Castillo is rallying the support of indigenous groups, farmers and local leaders as he faces 6 corruption probes. In the past month, Castillo has dismissed the accusations, recalling the government is the first from a rural movement since the foundation of Peru. Six months into the war, Russia-Ukraine conflict sees no end. Russia claims another deadly attack on Ukrainian facility. All the news and details on this and more coming up next. Stay tuned. Keep watching World This Morning.
Amity has been ranked India's #1 private university for the 10th year by India Today, a testimony to Amity's world-class education whilst imbibing values and sanskars in students.
वेव ऑफ की बात करी जाती है कि वेव ऑफ क्यों करे, उसके अलावा बात करी जाती है कि रोल बैक क्यों करी गई वो पॉलिसी, उस पर आप क्या कहेंगे? 24 घंटे पहले ही मेरे घर 14 घंटे की रेड कराई। आप बताओ कहाँ ना मैं आने को तैयार हूँ। ये लुकआउट नोटिस, ये नोटंकी किस लिए कर रहे हो? क्योंकि रेड में कुछ नहीं निकला। मुद्दे की बात करो। मुद्दे की बात यह है कि आज अरविंद केजरीवाल से डर क्यों लग रहा है? आज अरविंद केजरीवाल जी, इनको स्वास्थ्य मंत्री को आपने जेल में भेज दिया, अब शिक्षा मंत्री को जेल में भेजने वाले हो। अरविंद केजरीवाल से इतना घबरा रहे हो?
Karti, why is it becoming about enforcement directive? How did 50 lakh rupees become 2,000 crores with the Congress party answer? Because you raised the issue of ED in the press conference. That's why it's being answered. Your party is raising the issue of ED only when the Gandhis are under scandal. This kind of protest never happened when you were under scandal, Karti. You should be able to speak about it, Karti.
जी, आपने इस्तीफा दे दिया, भाजपा से क्या दिक्कत हो गई?
सब लोगों की इच्छा यही हुई है कि हम लोगों को एनडीए छोड़ देना चाहिए।
We are right now showing you the pictures of this flag march which is right now underway in Shimoga. A message is being sent out clearly to all the people who are breaking the law. They should be scared of the strong actions those are being taken.
अरविंद केजरीवाल जो देश को दुनिया का नंबर 1 देश बनाना चाहते हैं, मोदी जी को किस बात की चिंता है? लुकआउट नोटिस जारी करो। आपको देश की जनता 2024 में पूरे देश से ऑल आउट करेंगे।
लुकआउट नोटिस का मतलब ये है कि अपराध बहुत बड़ा है। अपने अंतिम निष्कर्ष पे पहुंचे सीबीआई और हम दूध का दूध पानी का पानी होने का इंतजार कर रहे हैं।
वेव ऑफ की बात करी जाती है कि वेव ऑफ क्यों करे, उसके अलावा बात करी जाती है कि रोल बैक क्यों करी गई वो पॉलिसी, उस पर आप क्या कहेंगे? 24 घंटे पहले ही मेरे घर 14 घंटे की रेड कराई। आप बताओ कहाँ ना मैं आने को तैयार हूँ। ये लुकआउट नोटिस, ये नोटंकी किस लिए कर रहे हो? क्योंकि रेड में कुछ नहीं निकला। मुद्दे की बात करो। मुद्दे की बात यह है कि आज अरविंद केजरीवाल से डर क्यों लग रहा है। आज अरविंद केजरीवाल जी इनके स्वास्थ्य मंत्री को अपने जेल में भेज दिया।
You're watching The World This Morning on Republic, and US President Joe Biden, it said, spoke with Emmanuel Macron, Boris Johnson and Olaf Scholz. The discussions included the Iran nuclear deal negotiations, Ukraine and the situation at the Zaporizhia nuclear power plant, including the need to avoid military operations near the plant and an IAEA visit. So reports suggest that US President Joe Biden held discussions with the French president, with Prime Minister Boris Johnson and Olaf Scholz of Germany. Discussions included the Iran nuclear deal negotiations, Ukraine and the situation at the Zaporizhia nuclear power plant. The Zaporizhia nuclear power plant has been making headlines, being in Ukraine and the constant target in the conflict between Russia and Ukraine. And these negotiations and these discussions were centered mostly around Iran nuclear deal negotiations. President Joe Biden, is said, spoke with Emmanuel Macron, Boris Johnson and Olaf Scholz. Russia is known to be organizing international military games event for the countries across the world to showcase their combat readiness. While Russia stands first in event combat events, China stands at the third position. Take a look.
As the Russia-Ukraine war continues, Moscow showcased its military strength in the tank biathlon event. The 1st Division cruise tanks took part in individual races as a part of the 2022 International Army Games. The event was conducted at the Alabino military training ground. Teams from Russia, Belarus, Kyrgyzstan and China competed in the event. The Russian crew showed the best result with a time of 20 minutes and 44 seconds. Meanwhile, the Belarusians came second in 21 minutes and 26 seconds. The third was the team from China, which overcame the track in 23 minutes and 9 seconds. And Kyrgyzstan reached the finish line in 39 minutes and 23 seconds. The event, which was launched in August 15th, involves about 30 countries across Europe, Asia, Africa and Latin America. The countries take part in dozens of competitions over a period of 2 weeks to showcase their combat readiness. This year, the event began on the 13th of August and will continue to the 27th of August. Bureau Report, Republic TV.
And mass COVID-19 testing began in Yuncheng in Shaanxi province on Sunday amid a lockdown due to a spike in new infection cases. A report.
There seems no relief from COVID-19 in China. Amid a lockdown due to spike in new infection cases, mass COVID-19 test began in Shaanxi province of China. Long queues were seen outside supermarkets and shops. Citizens were seen taking COVID-19 tests as the scare looms large in the province. Thousands of COVID-19 testing booths have popped up on the sidewalks across the province. Meanwhile, China government has vowed to its zero COVID strategy and has made it their top priority amid the COVID scare that continues to loom large in the country. Agency Report, Republic TV.
Sam Bennett won his second stage in a row with the victory in Stage 3 of the Vuelta a España, a 193-kilometer flat route starting and finishing in Breda in the Netherlands. Here's more.
Sam Bennett won his second stage in a row with victory in Stage 3 of the Vuelta a España, a 119-kilometer flat route starting and finishing in Breda, Netherlands. The rider clinched the win in a bunched finish, finishing in a time of 4 hours, 5 minutes and 53 seconds. His Denmark counterpart stood second, whereas Dan McLay clinched the third podium. After winning the opening sprint stage, Bennett made it to 2 in a row after a near-perfect start to this year's race.
It was quite a hard fight, and yeah, the boys again, what can I say? You know, like Jonas riding all day, like big thank you for the commitment. The boys then looking after me in the bunch all day, get me bottles when it was hard. Like today it wasn't like a hard, like watts wise, but it was a lot of accelerations out of corners all the day and really nervous day.
The stretch in Breda was the final stage in the Netherlands, and the race will resume in the Basque Country on Tuesday. Agency reports, Republic TV.
And in other sports news, a frustrated Thomas Tuchel insisted that Chelsea only had themselves to blame as they slumped to a 3-0 loss to Leeds. Unbeaten Leeds are third in the Premier League table, while Chelsea are 12th with 4 points from 3 games. Fourth-seeded Stefanos Tsitsipas of Greece proved his dance moves after he defeated the world number 1 Daniil Medvedev of Russia to reach the finals at the Cincinnati Open. Maximilian Kiefer, on his 249th attempt, lifted his maiden DP World Tour title. Despite trailing by 4 shots going to the final day of the Czech Masters in Prague, Kiefer carded a near faultless round of 66 to finish 16 under par and held a 1-shot lead over Green, who was making his way around the last 2 holes. And that's all in world this morning. Coming up next in the Morning Express, as the BJP and AAP face off, the story gets bigger as agencies close in on the others accused in the case. Bigger links likely soon. All the details and updates here on Republic. Stay tuned and keep watching. Also, 8 Congress workers have been booked by the Karnataka police for allegedly burning the poster of Savarkar in Dharwad in Karnataka. All the details on that as well. Stay tuned.
Karti, why is it becoming about enforcement director? How did 50 lakh rupees become 2,000 crores with the Congress party answer? Because you raised the issue of ED in the press conference. That's why it's being asked. Your party is raising the issue of ED only when the Gandhis are under scandal. This kind of protest never happened when you were under scandal, Karti. You should be able to speak about it, Karti.
जी आपने इस्तीफा दे दिया, भाजपा से क्या दिक्कत हो गई?
सब लोगों की इच्छा यही हुई है कि हम लोगों को एनडीए छोड़ देना चाहिए।
We are right now showing you the pictures of this flag march which is right now underway in Shimoga. A message is being sent out clearly to all the people who are breaking the law. They should be scared of the strong actions those are being taken.
अरविंद केजरीवाल जो देश को दुनिया का नंबर 1 देश बनाना चाहते हैं, मोदी जी को किस बात की चिंता है? लुकआउट नोटिस जारी करो। आपको देश की जनता 2024 में पूरे देश से ऑल आउट करेंगे।
लुकआउट नोटिस का मतलब ये है कि अपराध बहुत बड़ा है। अपने अंतिम निष्कर्ष पे पहुंचे सीबीआई और हम दूध का दूध पानी का पानी होने का इंतजार कर रहे हैं।
वेव ऑफ की बात करी जाती है कि वेव ऑफ क्यों करें, उसके अलावा बात करी जाती है कि रोल बैक क्यों करी गई वो पॉलिसी, उस पर आप क्या कहेंगे? 24 घंटे पहले ही मेरे घर 14 घंटे की रेड कराई। आप बताओ कहाँ ना मैं आने को तैयार हूँ। ये लुकआउट नोटिस, ये नोटंकी किस लिए कर रहे हो? क्योंकि रेड में कुछ नहीं निकला। मुद्दे की बात करो। मुद्दे की बात यह है कि आज अरविंद केजरीवाल से डर क्यों लग रहा है। आज अरविंद केजरीवाल जी इनके स्वास्थ्य मंत्री को आपने जेल में भेज दिया, अब शिक्षा मंत्री को जेल में भेजने वाले हो। अरविंद केजरीवाल से इतना घबरा रहे हो?
Karti, why is it becoming about enforcement director? How did 50 lakh rupees become 2,000 crores would the Congress party answer? Because you raised the issue of ED in the press conference. That's why it's being asked. Your party is raising the issue of
The Delhi liquor scam is getting bigger by the day. Massive TRS link is now emerging. Raids, seizures and FIRs. Excise scam explodes as a lookout circular is now issued against 8 accused. Silent on mega charges, Sisodiya and Kejriwal now take off to Gujarat. Mystery over the girl's death in MP quarters in the national capital. Big questions arise. Imran Khan is booked under the anti-terrorism law. Supporters throng Islamabad as he now stares at arrest. The daughter of the Russian President Vladimir Putin's closest ally is allegedly killed in a car bomb explosion. Good morning and welcome. You are watching the Morning Express on Republic TV. I'm Nupur Talwar Suri. We begin with news that's just coming in. Given the backdrop of the row that is now dominating the All India Football Federation, the former Indian football team captain Baichung Bhutia has filed an intervention petition on the Supreme Court in the Football Association case. Now, Bhutia has said that in his petition that the constitution prepared by the Administrative Committee should be accepted as the new legislation of the All India Football Federation because the new constitution is not only according to changes in the that should have been made, but it is also more sensitive about serving former players. Now, do remember that prior to this, the FIFA, that's the world governing body of football, had suspended the AIFF with immediate effect due to undue influence from third parties. Now, the suspension had implied, of course, that the Under-17 Women's World Cup team, which is already in Uzbekistan, could not actually go ahead and take part in the competition as planned. Let me go across live to Sambhav, who is reporting from New Delhi on this. Sambhav, good morning. Now, Sambhav, there's already a case in the Supreme Court in India where, the Supreme Court had in fact disbanded the AIFF. So in those terms, shed more light on what Baichung Bhutia's petition really means.
Now, there is an intervention petition filed in the Supreme Court, and Supreme Court today is going to hear other matters related to the FIFA row. In this, another intervention petition has been filed. There are very high chances that this would also be
I'm going to have to interrupt you, Sambhav. I'll just come back to you. Rhythm Anand Bhardwaj also on the phone line with me. Rhythm, good morning. Rhythm, give us more details of what this really means, given the fact that, the Supreme Court had previously disbanded the Football Federation.
Good morning to you, Nupur, and viewers who are joining in. Today is a very crucial day in the Supreme Court because in the last hearing, the tone had been set by the Supreme Court and the government that they were in talks with FIFA. This happens on the back heels of FIFA that had on the 5th of August suspended India and the All India Football Federation from being a part of any football matches that were held by FIFA, whether in India or abroad. The most critical aspect that the government has to look at today is that the Under-17 World Cup is held in October, like had been previously planned. Keeping that in mind, all the internal conflicts that are happening within the Federation, the government has said we don't want to highlight that. What we do want to highlight is that we are in consultation with FIFA. There are active engagements. We are hoping the ice is broken. So this was a very positive note that had been set by the All India Football Federation by the Solicitor General appearing for the government and the Supreme Court in the last hearing. Today becomes extremely crucial because today they are going to come to the court and tell the court whether the talks that they have held with the world governing body are successful. Meanwhile, like yesterday, we've seen Beckham Bhutia has also filed an intervention application in the Supreme Court in which he says he supports the Committee of Administrators. For our viewers and to simplify this, Nupur, there are two different factions that are currently working within the All India Football Federation. One is the committee and the electoral college that is going to be started by the committee, and that is what Beckham Bhutia is supporting. The other is a faction that is allegedly being guided by Praful Patel, who's been the former chief of the AIFF for the past 16 years. He shot off letters earlier to the world governing body. He also gave them indirectly giving them guidance on how they can actually move out of India if they felt that the Supreme Court decisions were a third-party intervention. But the Supreme Court was told in the last hearing by the Solicitor General, let's keep all of this aside. It's a matter of prestige of India. We have to ensure that the World Cup is held in India in October in the 3 states that had previously been planned, and that's what they are actively working towards in the hearing today in the top court.
Right now, even as this happens, Rhythm, we are given to understand that the Sports Ministry has already reached out to FIFA, about the 2 teams which are already in Uzbekistan. Of course, there is the Sri Gokulam Kerala FC as well as the ATK Mohun Bagan, which of course is already in Uzbekistan. Now, any thing in terms of the communication that the Sports Ministry is already having with FIFA?
It's the Sports Ministry that is. I have been, we are aware of, our sources do tell us a little bit of what's happening. It is best to wait for today's hearing, Nupur, to get a sense of whether the issue is being resolved today, whether talks will continue between the government as well as the world governing body FIFA. Remember, in the past when India has been at the forefront of such matches, this is the first time in the history in the 85 years that India has ever been suspended. There have been other countries suspended only because there has been a genuine arbitrariness there. This time around, we have to see not what led to this entire controversy, but how it can be resolved. We are looking forward to that hearing to get a sense. Our sources have given us an indication there is some resolution, there is some talks continuing to be held, but we want to wait for the Supreme Court hearing to get an official word from the government on the way forward for the World Cup to be held in India.
Absolutely. Now, that's of course Rhythm taking place in October. It's the Under-17 Women's World Cup, which was scheduled for earlier. However, due to COVID, had to be postponed. But Rhythm, what I also wanted to understand from you is that what we understand is something called the COA that has been formed for now. This is the Administrative Committee, and a constitution has also been prepared to look at the Indian footballing body's work.
Yes. So, Nupur, that is the entire bone of controversy. The COA is a body of 3 people that had been formed to look into this entire aspect of how the All India Football Federation should work. I spoke to all the members of the COA. In fact, I spoke to Justice Dave. I spoke to Mr. Bhaskar Ganguly. I had a word with the former election commissioner, Mr. Qureshi, who's been heading this particular committee of administrators. They are not only looking at football, but they're also looking at hockey. That is also something coming up in Supreme Court. So the COA has been constituted by the Supreme Court on the 18th of May, and they decide on what further has to happen for the time being in the All India Football Federation. This is something that has not gone down well with earlier people who were in power at the All India Football Federation, and that's where the clash happens. The COA, when I spoke to them last time, had said, they also gave out a press release, they said, we are shocked and surprised at the turn of events at how FIFA has suspended us because it happened suddenly when we were in talks with them. Who gloated, who guided them, what was happening is still not known, and that is not what we need to look at, is something even the COA said. So the COA has also filed a contempt petition in the Supreme Court against Praful Patel and others for trying to incite FIFA. But the Supreme Court has been told by the Solicitor General, we don't want to talk about what the COA side says, we don't want to talk about what Praful Patel side or the member faction say. All we want to ensure is the prestige of India continues. The Solicitor General was very clear. Talks are continuing to be held amicably and a resolution could be reached. Nupur, this is also relevant because the Prime Minister earlier had, in a tweet by the Home Minister, it had been expressed that the Prime Minister was delighted that the Under-17 World Cup is going to be held in 3 states in October. We've also seen the Prime Minister always giving a push to sports in India. So we're hoping that a resolution between the government officials as well as the world's governing body is reached.
Absolutely, Rhythm, as you're pointing out, the Supreme Court, of course, here's the case today. Thank you for joining us, Rhythm. Now, reports of links of the TRS to the liquor scam in New Delhi have come to the fore, with a TRS politician and his family under the scanner following similar allegations by the BJP at a press conference earlier.
The Delhi liquor scam is getting bigger day by day. A massive TRS link has now emerged in the scam. As per sources, a TRS politician and family members are now under the scanner of the CBI in the excise policy case. The Enforcement Directorate will be examining the foreign remittances of event management companies linked to the excise policy. This comes hours after the CBI issued lookout notices against 8 private persons named in the FIR in the Delhi excise policy case. Sisodia had earlier claimed a lookout notice was issued against him in the excise policy matter being probed by the CBI and termed the move drama. Sisodia is among 15 individuals and entities named in the FIR registered by the CBI in connection with alleged irregularities in the implementation of Delhi government's excise policy 2021-22. Bureau Report, Republic TV.
Now, as the political face of gathers pace over the liquor scam in Delhi, reports have surfaced of the National Capital's Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal claiming growing anger and distrust among the people as well as politicians of other political parties.
The BJP and the Aam Aadmi Party are holding back-to-back news conferences, questioning each other. The Aam Aadmi Party claims it's a witch hunt, and for the last few days, that's the only defense. They claim it's a vendetta. They claim Arvind Kejriwal is the real target. Manish Sisodia has been attacked for being close to Arvind Kejriwal. They're linking it to the Gujarat elections. They're linking it to the Punjab victory. But nothing on the specifics of the case. They're not getting into a debate on the specifics of what the CBI has said in its FIR, the different links, the 15 names, the 8 private individuals against whom there's a lookout circular.
Back-to-back conferences, allegations over allegations. The controversy over the liquor scam continues to expand, with the case unfolding further. While AAP continues to duck the specifics and states in defiance of the charges leveled against it.
CBI और ED वो enforcement agencies जो पैसों के और नोटों के पहाड़ बनाती हैं, उनकी रंगोलियां बनाती हैं। जरा आज बताएं तो सही कि मनीष सिसोदिया के घर से कितने पैसे मिले। बताएं तो सही कि घर के अलग-अलग हिस्से से भी जो उन्होंने 10-10 रुपए 100-100 रुपए के भी नोट इकट्ठे कर लिए, मंदिर में चढ़ाए हुए पैसे तक गिन लिए, तो आखिरकार मनीष सिसोदिया जी के घर से कितने पैसे मिले?
The BJP continues to demand answers.
मनीष सिसोदिया जी ने खुद माना है कि शराब में घोटाला भी हुआ है, लेकिन जवाब नहीं देते हैं अरविंद केजरीवाल जो किंग पिन है। और ये जो किंग पिन है वो आरोपी नंबर 1 को संरक्षण देने के लिए अपने पार्टी के प्रवक्ताओं को, नेताओं को जितना मर्जी उतारें। जनता, मीडिया और देश भ्रष्टाचार के आरोपी, शराब के भ्रष्टाचार के आरोपी मनीष सिसोदिया से बार बार जवाब मांगता है और किंग पिन अरविंद केजरीवाल जी से जवाब मांगता है कि ये भ्रष्टाचार कैसे हुआ, किन-किन को पैसा गया, इसका जवाब देना ही पड़ेगा।
And while AAP continues to hide behind its education policy,
मनीष सिसोदिया जी देश के सबसे प्रसिद्ध, देश के सबसे चाहे जाने वाले, देश के सबसे पसंद किए जाने वाले शिक्षा मंत्री
The call for Sisodia's resignation have now grown stronger.
कितनी काली करतूत कोरोना काल के टाइम पर अरविंद केजरीवाल जी की सरकार कर रही थी शराब पर, और ये शिक्षा की बात नहीं, ये शराब की बात है। शिक्षा के पीछे मत छुपिए।
But Sisodia is adamant. While speaking to Republic, the troubled Deputy Chief Minister reiterated that the current scenario is an outcome of a conspiracy to put him behind bars.
पहले तय कर लो तुम लोग इन आरोपों के बीच में इधर उधर की, रोज इधर उधर की इनका नेता खड़ा होकर बात करता रहता है। मुद्दे की बात करो। मुद्दे की बात यह है कि आज अरविंद केजरीवाल से डर क्यों लग रहा है। आज अरविंद केजरीवाल जी के जेल में, इनके स्वास्थ्य मंत्री को आपने जेल में भेज दिया, अब शिक्षा मंत्री को जेल में भेजने वाले हो। अरविंद केजरीवाल से इतना घबरा रहे हो।
On the other hand, the CBI has now issued a lookout circular for the 8 accused named in the scam. Additionally, the CBI has also handed over the case files to the Enforcement Directorate. Amid fast-paced developments on one hand and heated exchanges on the other, it remains to be seen how this liquor scam controversy shapes further. Bureau Report, Republic TV.
Well, the mysterious death of an 18-year-old girl in a high-security complex housing parliamentarians of the country in New Delhi has raised some serious questions. While the Delhi police calls it a case of suicide, the family refuses to buy that theory.
On the 20th of August, this 18-year-old woman was found dead in a housing complex for parliamentarians in the heart of Lutyens, Delhi. The Delhi police has swung into action following the mysterious death of the woman in the housing complex for parliamentarians.
Here I would like to show you all the MP flats. The 13th floor, which is called the terrace. From that terrace, 18-year-old girl named Ayushi fell from the terrace yesterday, August 20, on Saturday at 9:15 p.m. And police officials were called at around 10 p.m. by the residents who live in this area. But let me show you the spot where exactly she fell. And the sketch can clearly be seen, which is made by police officials. This is exactly the spot where she fell from the terrace and she died on spot. The entire investigation in this matter is being carried out by police officials, and they are looking out at all the points of the investigation.
A CCTV footage of the woman from the 13th floor of the building has emerged just minutes before she was found dead.
लड़की जो है वो इस लिफ्ट से निकलती है, और निकलते हुए जिस कॉन्फिडेंस से निकलती है उसको देखकर ये लगता नहीं कि यहां से निकलेगी सीधे टेरिस पर जाएगी और सुसाइड कर लेगी। सबसे बड़ा सवाल कि अगर वो यहां से निकलती है उसे ये कैसे मालूम कि टेरिस का रास्ता जो है वो इस तरफ से जाता है। मतलब जो लड़की है वो यहां पहले आई हुई है, इस रास्ते से वो अच्छी तरीके से वाकिफ थी।
The Delhi police claims the girl died on the spot as she fell from the terrace of the building, and the incident took place at around 9:15 p.m. on the 20th of August. The Delhi police also confirms that her phone and purse was found on the terrace.
कोई भी लड़की बिना रजिस्टर को मेंटेन किए हुए, बिना रजिस्टर में एंट्री किए हुए ऊपर तक कैसे पहुंच जाती है, और कोई भी उसे रोकता नहीं है। सुरक्षा के इंतजाम इतने खराब कैसे हो सकते हैं। और मैं आपको दिखाना चाहूंगा कि हाई प्रोफाइल जगह क्यों है, क्योंकि देखिए यहां से सीधे जो है वो पार्लियामेंट दिखता है। पार्लियामेंट यहां से आप सीधे देख सकते हैं। उससे पीछे जो है नॉर्थ ब्लॉक, साउथ ब्लॉक भी वहीं पर है, और साथ ही में जो प्रेसिडेंट हाउस है वो भी यहां से दिखता है। रकाबगंज गुरुद्वारा जो है वो यहां से दिखता है। अब लड़की गिरती कैसे है, क्योंकि देखिए दूसरी तरफ से जो टेरेस है वो बंद किया हुआ है, और ये 13 फ्लोर से ऊपर आकर के, यानी कि ये 14 फ्लोर है, 13 मंजिला इमारत है। यहाँ पर हम ऊपर आए हैं। एक हिस्सा जो है इसका ये यहाँ से टूटा हुआ है, लेकिन बॉडी जो है वो ठीक इसके पीछे जो है, पीछे वाली जगह से गिरी है। या तो इस तरफ से गिरी है या फिर दूसरे तरफ से गिरी है। लेकिन मैं आपको ये भी बताना चाहता हूं कि इसकी गुणवत्ता देखिए। ये बिल्कुल हल्की सी यहाँ पर जो है, ये जो है बिल्कुल हल्की सी जो दीवार है वो है, और वो भी बहुत कॉन्क्रीट नहीं है।
While the Delhi police claims it's a case of suicide, the family refuses to buy that theory.
ऐसा तो मुझे पता नहीं कुछ भी कि क्या हुआ, हमें कुछ पता नहीं है इसके बारे में। मगर वो जो पुलिस वाले इसमें इनके बाद केस है, इसके बाद मुझे हम बता रहे थे कि हम लोग पूरी जांच करेंगे इसकी, कि क्या मामला है, किस वजह से ऐसा पुलिस वाले खुद बोले गए।
आपको किसी पर शक है?
नहीं, हमें तो कोई शक नहीं है।
The mysterious death has raised several questions. What happened at the terrace leading to the woman's death? Why was the girl entering the complex for MPs? Did the girl visit the quarters regularly? Did the girl enter the complex on that particular day to meet someone? So many unanswered questions, and the family demands justice. Delhi police investigation continues. Bureau Report, Republic TV.
And here's a quick look at what else is making news this morning. The Delhi police have issued a statement over the girl's death at the MP quarters. The police says that they believe it could be a case of suicide. The family of the girl, however, do not believe the girl could have committed suicide. Another video of an assault by a woman has surfaced from Madhya Pradesh, where a woman was seen assaulting an auto rickshaw driver in the state of intoxication. The police reportedly did not intervene in the altercation. At least 8 workers of the Congress party have been booked for burning posters of V.D. Savarkar in Dharwad. Reacting to this incident, Karnataka's Chief Minister Basavaraj Bommai has said that ideologies ought to be fought ideologically. The arrest came following a protest by the BJP in the Bajrang Dal in Dharwad in response to a poster of Savarkar being burnt. Farmers have called for an agitation in Delhi as their demands for a minimum support price, along with the resignation of the Union Minister Ajay Mishra, amongst others, have led to several farmers gathering at the capital in order to protest at Jantar Mantar. Police personnel have been deployed across the border ahead of gathering. A first-year MBBS student died under suspicious circumstances in Uttar Pradesh's University of Medical Sciences in Safai. The deceased student's parents believe that fellow students and wardens were complicit in his death. An IED weighing approximately 10 to 12 kgs has been recovered from the area of Behgund in Thrall. The police and the army were called in to detonate the explosive at the site, with a major incident being averted in Jammu and Kashmir. The former Chief Minister of Gujarat, Shankar Singh Waghela, has announced his plans to form a no political party in Gujarat called the Prajashakti Democratic Party. The leader said that people were fed up with the BJP, adding that the BJP is taking people of Gujarat for granted. A 46-year-old allegedly with a fake Indian citizenship in 2016 was arrested from Delhi by the Rajasthan police for allegedly spying for Pakistan. The person reportedly got Indian citizenship in 2016 and was working as a taxi driver in Delhi. With reports of infighting surfacing from Jammu and Kashmir, Political Affairs Committee headed by Tariq Kara has chaired its first meeting. The meeting was attended by the AICC in charge of Jammu and Kashmir Affairs, Rajni Patel, the Jammu and Kashmir Congress President Vicar Rasulwani, and Vice President Raman Bhalla and Ghulam Ahmad Mir, among other members of the committee. Delhi Chief Minister and Aam Aadmi Party National Convener Arvind Kejriwal will embark on a 2-day visit to Polban, Gujarat from today. Kejriwal will be accompanied by the Delhi Deputy Chief Minister Manish Sisodia amid the CBI investigation over the excise policy he faces at the moment. And news just coming in, we are learning that the BJP has called for a counter-strategy meeting in Jammu today. This meeting is to counter the Gupkar Alliance's all-party meeting that is taking place. We are also learning that the BJP is looking to finalize the strategy to stop a misinformation campaign that is being spread by the Gupkar Alliance on 25 lakh new non-local voters. The BJP plans a mega outreach program as well. Gursimran is joining us live right now. He has more details on this. Gursimran, good morning. Gursimran, give us a sense of what we are expecting at this meeting of the BJP. The BJP, we're given to understand, also wants to essentially pull up political activity in Jammu.
See, this meeting, the counter-strategy meeting that has been called by the Bharatiya Janata Party, is a meeting to counter the narrative that is being set by the Gupkar Alliance, especially with regards to the addition of around 25 lakh new voters. Because what the BJP is saying, that the Gupkar Alliance is giving a feeler to the people that 25 lakh non-locals are being added to the voter list of Jammu and Kashmir. That will entirely change the demography of Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, which is not the reality. The reality remains that for almost after 4 to 5 years, the revision of electoral rolls is happening, and many from the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir who have attained the age of 18 will be added to that. And there is nothing like that. 25 lakh non-local voters are being added to the list. And now the BJP also knows that the misinformation, quote unquote, that is being spread by the Gupkar Alliance, it will dent their vote share, and that's why they are coming out with a strategy. They are planning a massive reach out program to the locals so that they can tell people that there is nothing such, because see, everyone is worried about their rights, and be it job rights, land rights, or the voting rights, and that's why BJP is now planning that they will be reaching out to the people everywhere in the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir in large numbers, so that they can be assured that there is nothing wrong that is going to happen to their vote, and their votes are secure. Even those who deserve it are only going to vote. There is nothing that the people are being brought from other parts of the country just to establish the BJP government. So this all will be discussed, and at a time when the Gupkar Alliance has called a meeting in Srinagar, BJP calling this meeting in Jammu clearly shows that J&K is heading towards the possible elections, as all political parties have geared up. The opposition is trying to encircle the union government as well as the BJP at Jammu and Kashmir over the issue of addition of new voters, while the BJP is planning that they will now rebut this campaign, the smear campaign that has been launched by the Gupkar Alliance.
Now, what we've heard from Mehbooba Mufti in particular is the fact that she says that there are about these 25 lakh voters who are actually non-locals. They don't reside over there. And also, you know, she has alleged that this is an attempt to disenfranchise locals.
Yes, this is what the narrative the Bharatiya Janata Party wants to counter, because see, once this narrative is floated throughout the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, this is going to dent the BJP for sure, and BJP also realizes this, and that's why this meeting has been called in. I spoke to some of the senior leaders of the Bharatiya Janata Party who were not very keen to speak on the camera, but they said that we are going to soon launch a very strong counter narrative. We will be going to people so that we can tell them that this is not the reality what the Gupkar Alliance or the other parties are telling you. The reality remains that your land and job rights will remain secure, and those who have been living here for quite a while, only they will be allowed to vote. And getting a vote registered is not an easy task at two places when coming to the present time, because the Election Commission of India keeps a strict tab on each and every movement that is taking place, and any person who is having vote somewhere else cannot be like that they can come here and they can franchise their vote. We will be continuing with this big story, that is Gupkar calling the meeting and the BJP's counter strategy meet here on the Republic right after this short break. To the Gupkar all-party meeting that will be attended by the Abdullah Mufti and many others, and this meeting will see many leaders from the Bharatiya Janata Party in the BJP's counter strategy meet to counter the narrative of Gupkar Alliance. For more, stay tuned to Republic TV.
All right, pictures on your screen right now are of security being heightened in the national capital ahead of a planned farmers' protest.
Amity has been ranked India's #1 private university for the 10th year by India Today, a testimony to Amity's world-class education whilst imbibing values and sanskars in students.
जी आपने इस्तीफा दे दिया, भाजपा से क्या दिक्कत हो गई?
सब लोगों की इच्छा यही हुई है कि हम लोगों को एनडीए छोड़ देना चाहिए।
We are right now showing you the pictures of this flag march which is right now underway in Shimoga. A message is being sent out clearly to all the people who are breaking the law. They should be scared of the strong actions those are being taken.
अरविंद केजरीवाल जो देश को दुनिया का नंबर 1 देश बनाना चाहते हैं, मोदी जी को किस बात की चिंता है? लुकआउट नोटिस जारी करो। आपको देश की जनता 2024 में पूरे देश से ऑल आउट करेगी।
लुकआउट नोटिस का मतलब ये है कि अपराध बहुत बड़ा है। अपने अंतिम निष्कर्ष पे पहुंचे सीबीआई और हम दूध का दूध पानी का पानी होने का इंतजार कर रहे हैं।
वेव ऑफ की बात करी जाती है कि वेव ऑफ क्यों करें, उसके अलावा बात करी जाती है कि रोल बैक क्यों करी गई वो पॉलिसी, उस पर आप क्या कहेंगे? 24 घंटे पहले ही मेरे घर 14 घंटे की रेड कराई। आप बताओ कहाँ ना मैं आने को तैयार। ये लुकआउट नोटिस, ये नोटंकी किस लिए कर रहे हो? क्योंकि रेड में कुछ नहीं निकला। मुद्दे की बात करो। मुद्दे की बात यह है कि आज अरविंद केजरीवाल से डर क्यों लग रहा है? आज अरविंद केजरीवाल जी इनको स्वास्थ्य मंत्री को आपने जेल में भेज दिया, अब शिक्षा मंत्री को जेल में भेजने वाले हो। अरविंद केजरीवाल से इतना घबरा रहे हो?
Karti, why is it becoming about enforcement directive? How did 50 lakh rupees became 2,000 crores with the Congress party answer? Because you raised the issue of ED in the press conference. That's why it's being answered. Your party is raising the issue of ED only when the Gandhis are under scandal. This kind of protest never happened when you were under scandal, Karti. You should be able to speak about it, Karti.
जी आपने इस्तीफा दे दिया, भाजपा से क्या दिक्कत हो गई?
सब लोगों की इच्छा यही हुई है कि हम लोगों को एनडीए छोड़ देना चाहिए।
We are right now showing you the pictures of this flag march which is right now underway in Shimoga. A message is being sent out clearly to all the people who are breaking the law. They should be scared of the strong actions those are being taken.
अरविंद केजरीवाल जो देश को दुनिया का नंबर 1 देश बनाना चाहते हैं, मोदी जी को किस बात की चिंता है? लुकआउट नोटिस जारी करो। आपको देश की जनता 2024
You're watching the Morning Express. The headlines at this hour: Delhi liquor scam getting bigger by the day. Massive TRS link now emerges. Raids, seizure and FIRs. Excise scam explodes as lookout circular now issued against 8 accused. Silent on mega charges, Sisodia and Kejriwal now take off to Gujarat. Mystery over girl's death in MP quarters in the national capital. Big questions arise. As Gupkar Alliance calls for strategy meet at 11 a.m., BJP plans counter strategy meet in Jammu. Imran Khan booked under anti-terrorism law. Supporters throng Islamabad as he now stares at arrest. And we begin with breaking news coming in about another row that has erupted over Savarkar's photo pasted in Vijayapura Congress office in Vijaypur. Police have removed the photograph. A stranger had pasted Savarkar's photo at Jalnagar Congress office every night. Stranger had pasted 8 to 10 photos. In continuation, clearance of all photographs has been undertaken by the police, and that's a task that has been completed. Jalnagar police are stationed at the spot and a search is on for the person or persons responsible. So, Veer Damodar Savarkar's photograph pasted in the Congress office in Jalnagar in Vijaypura, and police arrived at the spot when they heard about it and removed the poster. It's not known yet as to who is the person or persons responsible for posting the picture. And we go across now to Niranjan to take us through this breaking development. Niranjan, when we talk about the poster Rao Veer Damodar Savarkar, there seems to be no end to it.
Well, this seems like a defiant sort of a move because, last evening on Republic, we broke details of how Congress leaders were named in an FIR for burning Savarkar posters in Dharwad, Karnataka. And this is coming a day after that. So essentially what has happened in this particular case in Vijaypura is that Savarkar photos were posted in the Congress office. And someone has, sort of intentionally gone inside the Congress office, pasted Savarkar photos. And the police had to intervene in this particular case to remove these photos. And it appears that the person who pasted the photos has not been identified yet. This was at the Jalnagar Congress office. And the stranger, whose identity is unknown as we speak, according to reports, had pasted about 8 to 10 posters of Veer Savarkar at the Congress office. And the clearance of these photos is currently underway. The police is clearing these photos because obviously they feel that this could lead to a law and order situation. Police is stationed at the spot. And there are also identified who got into the office of the Congress party and pasted these photos. Important because in Dharwad, Karnataka on Friday, Congress crossed, sort of all limits to burn posters of Veer Savarkar, a freedom icon, freedom hero. They have a problem with Savarkar, that's okay, but they tried to burn down posters of Veer Savarkar, and some of them have been named in an FIR filed by the police in Karnataka as well. And these developments are coming after that. Since the clashes that erupted in Shivamogga, where riots broke out on the 15th over a Veer Savarkar photo at a circle. The Congress party has sort of used Veer Savarkar to polarize, certainly taking a stand, using freedom icons like Veer Savarkar to divide. On record, they've gone on to back, icons like Tipu Sultan, but question Veer Savarkar. So this has become a big election issue, a big political issue. The state government, obviously, it's a BJP government, and they idolize Veer Savarkar. They are fighting for Veer Savarkar, and the Congress party obviously trying to insult Veer Savarkar. It's going to be a hot issue for months to come.
Well, many thanks, Niranjan, for joining us there and for putting that incident into perspective. After Shivamogga, Tumakuru and Dharwad in Karnataka, now the Savarkar poster Rao reaches Vijaypur, where an unidentified person is said to have continuously posted nearly 8 to 10 photographs of Veer Savarkar in the Congress office there. Moving on to other news stories, again from down south, Andhra Pradesh Chief Minister Y.S. Jagan Mohan Reddy to meet Prime Minister Modi in New Delhi at 10:15 today, this morning, and he is expected to hold discussions on issues and projects related to Andhra Pradesh. Another speculation about the meeting between the duo is that it comes days after TDP chief and Chandrababu Naidu had met Prime Minister Modi earlier. So there could be talks over the political scenario in Andhra Pradesh, and also TDP and YSRCP, both parties have supported the NDA during the presidential and vice presidential elections. So lots in store, all eyes on this particular meeting. Aneri, tell us about what you're hearing about this scheduled meeting between the Andhra Pradesh Chief Minister and Prime Minister Modi. There are lots of speculations about it, both regarding the development as far as, on what the discussions could actually be focused on. It's over to you.
Well, Rukma, we have been seeing now a lot of speculations over the meeting between the Andhra Pradesh Chief Minister Y.S. Jagan Mohan Reddy and Prime Minister Narendra Modi, which is all set to take place in the national capital at near about 10:15 to 10:30, where is the time when Andhra Pradesh Chief Minister will be meeting Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Well, the first thing what we have learned is that the Chief Minister of Andhra Pradesh will be holding talks in regard with the projects and issues pertaining to the state, especially for the release of of funds from the center over various projects, especially Polavaram project is one of the major projects in the state of Andhra Pradesh. So the Chief Minister is likely to ask over the release of funds for that particular project, but also not to rule out any sort of speculations. We have been seeing that this meeting comes just a day after we had seen in the recent times that former Andhra Pradesh Chief Minister and the TDP Chief N. Chandrababu Naidu had also met Prime Minister Narendra Modi in the national capital a few days back, and also what we have been seeing is that TDP and YSRCP both had supported NDA during the vice presidential and the presidential elections. So what could be the political scenario also remains to be seen, as Andhra Pradesh will also be going into polls. The state assembly elections will be taking place in the year 2024. So just 1.5 years ahead of this, we are seeing a lot of political brewing taking place in the state of Andhra Pradesh, as BJP is also trying to go stronger in the state of Andhra Pradesh. We had seen Union Minister Arunabh Thakur also being in Andhra Pradesh yesterday. He was holding a series of meetings and also visiting various places. So BJP is trying to put up a strong hold in the state of Andhra Pradesh. But earlier also, TDP Chief N. Chandrababu Naidu and the NDA TDP and NDA were in alliance, and now we see that Andhra Pradesh Chief Minister Y.S. Jagan Mohan Reddy is meeting Prime Minister Narendra Modi just few days after Chandrababu Naidu had met Prime Minister Narendra Modi. So whether there will be any sort of talks in regard with the political scenario or not also remains to be seen. But yet, major issues will be related to the state and projects over release of funds and
meeting.
permission.
It's to be around between 10:15 and 10:30. YSRCP Chief Jagan Mohan Reddy to meet Prime Minister Modi. Anneri keeping us updated about that, putting that visit of the Andhra Pradesh Chief Minister into perspective. Many thanks, Anneri, for joining us. And moving on now to some international news. One of Russian President Vladimir Putin's closest aide's daughter is reported to have been killed in a car accident that was followed by an explosion. The aide, named Alexander Dugin, was one of those sanctioned by the West at the beginning of the Russia-Ukraine war. Here's more.
Daria Dugina, daughter of Alexander Dugin, known to be the Russian President Vladimir Putin's closest aide, was allegedly killed in a car bomb explosion. Footage of the alleged explosion shows Daria Dugina's car engulfed in flames on the outskirts of Moscow. The incident is said to have occurred when Daria was traveling back home. According to an eyewitness, she heard the explosion in her house near the site where the incident occurred.
В районе половины 10-го вечера я находилась на рабочем месте, услышала хлопок входной двери. Секунд через 30 я вышла и увидела возгорание машины на Можайском шоссе. Пока стояла на улице, наверное, проследовало еще 4 или 5 таких же хлопков. Я поняла, что это взорвалась машина, но буквально через 3-4 минуты подъехали сотрудники спецслужб, подъехала полиция, пожарная. Пожар очень быстро потушили, все сработали оперативно.
The investigative committee has opened a criminal case over the blast. According to the investigation, an explosive device reportedly went off in Dugina's car, which caused the car to catch fire.
До настоящего времени на месте происшествия продолжают работу следователи и криминалисты Главного следственного управления СК России по Московской области совместно с коллегами из ГУК СК России, а также взрывотехниками.
Meanwhile, Ukrainian authorities have denied any role in the explosion. Reports suggest the vehicle belonged to her father and that he had decided at the last minute to leave in another car. No suspects have yet been identified and an investigation is underway. Daria Dugina was put on the UK sanctions list in July this year for providing support and promoting policies or actions which destabilize Ukraine. In between March and April this year, Daria Dugina was the face of Russia's defense of the war in Ukraine, appearing in global debates, a regular on the show with Arnab.
And the casualties are more and more civilians. Daria, this is making no sense.
It's making no sense. Russia has to stop this deadliest phase of the war.
Thank you so much for the invitation. I would like to point out a very important thing which you have raised, the topic of the geopolitical confrontation between the West and the East. And actually, we all understand that this conflict is not the conflict between Ukraine and Russia. This is the conflict of two blocks, of the multipolarity and of the unipolarity. Unfortunately, Ukraine has been held as a live shield over this unipolar world. And the thing is that now, even if Ukraine intends to do the negotiations and Zelensky says that he is ready for that, the problem is that United States and NATO doesn't need that. So the Washington Post published recently a large article, which I would like to quote. It openly says that NATO will not accept any piece of Ukraine treaty with Russia. And actually there will be, the article explains that there will be pressure to the President Zelensky if he wants to stop the conflict. He will be blocked at the level of Verkhovna Rada, where Zelensky has no constitutional majority, or he will be brought down in the course of popular unrest of patriotic and minded Ukrainians. The thing is that now we are in a very dangerous situation, because the world free will be not the decision to start it will be not taken by Russia or Ukraine, but by the NATO.
In 2015, years before the Russia-Ukraine war, US had imposed sanctions on Alexander Dugin, cutting business ties and freezing his assets. Some European Union leaders too imposed sanctions on Alexander Dugin as a form of retaliation for Russia's annexation of Crimea. Who killed Daria Dugina? Was she targeted? Was her father the real target? And how will Putin now respond? Agency report, Republic TV.
Silent on mega charges, Sisodia and Kejriwal now take off to Gujarat. Also coming up, mystery over girl's death in MP quarters in national capital. Big questions arise. Stay tuned to Republic for all the news and more.
We are right now showing you the pictures of this flag march, which is right now underway in Shimoga. A message is being sent out clearly to all the people who are breaking the law. They should be scared of the strong actions those are being taken.
अरविंद केजरीवाल जो देश को दुनिया का नंबर 1 देश बनाना चाहते हैं, मोदी जी को किस बात की चिंता है? लुकआउट नोटिस जारी करो। आपको देश की जनता 2024 में पूरे देश से ऑल आउट करेंगे।
लुकआउट नोटिस का मतलब ये है कि अपराध बहुत बड़ा है। अपने अंतिम निष्कर्ष पे पहुंचे सीबीआई और हम दूध का दूध पानी का पानी होने का इंतजार कर रहे हैं।
वेव ऑफ की बात करी जाती है कि वेव ऑफ क्यों करें, उसके अलावा बात करी जाती है कि रोल बैक क्यों करी गई वो पॉलिसी, उस पर आप क्या कहेंगे? 24 घंटे पहले ही मेरे घर 14 घंटे की रेड कराई। आप बताओ कहाँ ना मैं आने को तैयार। ये लुकआउट नोटिस, ये नोटंकी किस लिए कर रहे हो? क्योंकि रेड में कुछ नहीं निकला। मुद्दे की बात करो। मुद्दे की बात यह है कि आज अरविंद केजरीवाल से डर क्यों लग रहा है। आज अरविंद केजरीवाल जी इनके स्वास्थ्य मंत्री को आपने जेल में भेज दिया, अब शिक्षा मंत्री को जेल में भेजने वाले हो। अरविंद केजरीवाल से इतना घबरा रहे हो?
Karti, why is it becoming about enforcement director? How did 50 lakh rupees became 2,000 crores with the Congress party answer? Because you raised the issue of ED in the press conference. That's why it's being asked. Your party is raising the issue of ED only when the Gandhis are under scandal. This kind of protest never happened when you were under scandal, Karti. You should be able to speak about it, Karti.
जी आपने इस्तीफा दे दिया, भाजपा से क्या दिक्कत हो गई?
सब लोगों की इच्छा यही हुई है कि हम लोगों को एनडीए छोड़ देना चाहिए।
We are right now showing you the pictures of this flag march, which is right now underway in Shimoga. A message is being sent out clearly to all the people who are breaking the
जी आपने इस्तीफा दे दिया, भाजपा से क्या दिक्कत हो गई?
सब लोगों की इच्छा यही हुई है कि हम लोगों को एनडीए छोड़ देना चाहिए।
And you're watching the Morning Express on Republic. In a latest update, 8 Congress workers have been booked by Karnataka police for allegedly burning the poster of Hindutva ideologue Vinayak Damodar Savarkar in Dharwad district. The FIR was registered by police based on a complaint filed by a Bajrang Dal leader. The 8 Congress workers in the dock over this case.
As the Congress party takes its fight against Veer Savarkar, an icon of freedom fighter, as they take the Savarkar issue and hit the streets. Now, they cross the line in several cities and districts. Now, in Karnataka, it spread from Shivamogga, went to Udupi, and eventually in Dharwad, as the Congress party was protesting, some of its workers burned posters and pictures of Veer Savarkar, perhaps taking it a bit too far. And the police in its FIR has named about 8 Congress leaders, expecting some action on this case as the Congress party uses icons to divide, to polarize. On one hand, you had leaders talk about Muslim area, asking why Savarkar's posters were put in Muslim areas, and then openly backing Tipu Sultan. So as the Congress party makes it Tipu Sultan versus Savarkar, are they getting caught in their own battle ahead of the elections? The Veer Savarkar debate continues, and on Monday, Republic TV will keep you ahead from Bengaluru.
Amid tensions prevailing in Karnataka's Shivamogga district over Savarkar's flex, similar incidents have now been reported from the neighbouring Dharwad district. Veer Savarkar's posters were installed on the backdrop of Independence Day celebrations in the district. However, they were removed and burnt. BJP and Bajrang Dal workers staged a massive protest demanding the arrest of those who burnt Savarkar's posters. 8 Congress workers have been booked by Karnataka police for allegedly burning the poster of Savarkar in the Dharwad district. Clashes have been reported in many cities across Karnataka. There is tension in the state after the posters of Savarkar were torn down first in Shivamogga, then Mangaluru, then Chikmagaluru, Tumkuru, and now in Dharwad. Bureau Report, Republic TV.
And coming up in a short while, Mega Rao over FIFA ban. Baichung Bhutia files intervention plea. All eyes now on top court hearing. Also coming up, as Gupkar Alliance calls for strategy meet at 11. BJP plans counter strategy meet in Jammu.
अरविंद केजरीवाल जो देश को दुनिया का नंबर 1 देश बनाना चाहते हैं, मोदी जी को किस बात की चिंता है? लुकआउट नोटिस जारी करो। आपको देश की जनता 2024 में पूरे देश से ऑल आउट करेंगे।
लुकआउट नोटिस का मतलब ये है कि अपराध बहुत बड़ा है। अपने अंतिम निष्कर्ष पे पहुंचे सीबीआई और हम दूध का दूध पानी का पानी होने का इंतजार कर रहे हैं।
And in other international news, the first day of a planned strike at Britain's biggest container port started, joining a series of walkouts by transportation workers that have disrupted economic activity across the country. Almost 2,000 workers at the port of Felixstowe walked off the jobs over pay, raising fears of severe supply chain problems. More than 75 people have been killed, over 12,000 homes destroyed, and over 20,000 damaged by Sudan's seasonal downpours and floods. Drone footage from Al Jazeera province showed a village and surrounding area partially submerged by flood waters.
A quick look at what else is making news this morning. The Delhi police have issued a statement over the girl's death at the MP quarters. The police says that they believe it could be a case of suicide. The family of the girl, however, do not believe the girl could have committed suicide. Another video of an assault by a woman has surfaced from Madhya Pradesh, where a woman was seen assaulting an auto rickshaw driver in the state of intoxication. The police reportedly did not intervene in the altercation. At least 8 workers of the Congress party have been booked for burning posters of V.D. Savarkar in Dharwad. Reacting to this incident, Karnataka's Chief Minister Basavaraj Bommai has said that ideologies ought to be fought ideologically. The arrest came following a protest by the BJP in the Bajrang Dal in Dharwad in response to a poster of Savarkar being burnt. Farmers have called for an agitation in Delhi as their demands for a minimum support price, along with the resignation of the Union Minister Ajay Mishra, amongst others, have led to several farmers gathering at the capital in order to protest at Jantar Mantar. Police personnel have been deployed across the border ahead of gathering. A first-year MBBS student died.
Watching the Morning Express, and breaking news coming in now. War of words erupting between the BJP and TMC over central agencies like the CBI and ED. After Dilip Ghosh's comments, Saugata Roy has now hit back. Let's listen in.
सीबीआई भी केंद्रीय सरकार के संस्था, ईडी भी सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट की संस्था। उसके बारे में थोड़ा दिलीप घोष उल्टा सीधा बात बोल रहे हैं। वो सीबीआई का विपक्ष में बोल रहे हैं, ईडी का पक्ष में बोल रहे हैं। दोनों ही केंद्रीय सरकार का संस्था है और केंद्रीय सरकार बीजेपी का है। मुझे लगता है दिलीप घोष का दिमाग में गड़बड़ी हुआ। शुभेंदु के शायद शुभेंदु को डाउन कराने के लिए वो ये सब बोल रहे हैं।
আপনারা হয়তো জানেন গত কয়েক মাস ধরে এখানে সিবিআই ইনকোয়ারি চলছিল, কিন্তু কোনো ইফেক্ট হচ্ছিল না, কোনো ডকুমেন্ট আসছিল না, ধরা পড়ছিল না। কারণ কি? তার মধ্যে সোর্সের মধ্যে ভূত ছিল। আমিও শুনেছি, খবর আছে, কিছু জানার পরে কিছু অফিসারকে পরিবর্তনও করা হয়েছে। কিন্তু যথারীতি যা হয় আর কি, সবার একটা পেট আছে, সবাই বিক্রি হয়, তার দাম থাকে, কেউ লক্ষে থেকে কোটিতে, কেউ 100 কোটিতে, সেভাবে বিক্রি হচ্ছিল। এটা সরকার বুঝতে পেরেছে। আমি যতদূর শুনেছি কেন্দ্রীয় অর্থমন্ত্রীর বিশেষ প্রয়াসে ইডি এসেছে, তারপরে কাজ শুরু হয়েছে। এবং যারা সেটিং করছিলেন তাদের মধ্যে কেউ কেউ এখানে মন্তব্য করেছেন যে এতদিন তো কোর্টের আদেশে সিবিআই তদন্ত করছিল, ইডি থেকে চলে এলো, এবং ইডিকে সরাবার জন্য কোর্টেও গেছে। ওই কুকুরটাকে পোষ মারানো যায়।
So war of words erupting between the BJP and the TMC, and the TMC clearly up in arms over the working, as they say, of central agencies like the CBI and the ED. Already scam after scam emerging in West Bengal, and so stay tuned for all the updates on that. Meanwhile, raids, seizure and FIRs, excise scam explodes as lookout circular now issued against 8 accused. All the details coming up here on Republic. Stay with us. Also coming up, Andhra Pradesh Chief Minister set to meet Prime Minister Modi. Big speculations as meet comes days after Chandrababu Naidu's meet. And in other international news, the first day of a planned strike at Britain's biggest container port started, joining a series of walkouts by transportation workers that have disrupted economic activity across the country. Almost 2,000 workers at the port of Felixstowe walked off the jobs over pay, raising fears of severe supply chain problems. More than 75 people have been killed, over 12,000 homes destroyed and over 20,000 damaged by Sudan's seasonal downpours and floods. Drone footage from Al Jazeera province showed a village and surrounding area partially submerged by flood waters.
A quick look at what else is making news this morning. The Delhi police have issued a statement over the girl's death at the MP quarters. The police says that they believe it could be a case of suicide. The family of the girl, however, do not believe the girl could have committed suicide. Another video of an assault by a woman has surfaced from Madhya Pradesh, where a woman was seen assaulting an auto rickshaw driver in the state of intoxication. The police reportedly did not intervene in the altercation. At least 8 workers of the Congress party have been booked for burning posters of V.D. Savarkar in Dharwad. Reacting to this incident, Karnataka's Chief Minister Basavaraj Bommai has said that ideologies ought to be fought ideologically. The arrest came following a protest by the BJP in the Bajrang Dal in Dharwad in response to a poster of Savarkar being burnt. Farmers have called for an agitation in Delhi as their demands for a minimum support price, along with the resignation of the Union Minister Ajay Mishra, amongst others, have led to several farmers gathering at the capital in order to protest at Jantar Mantar. Police personnel have been deployed across the border ahead of gathering. A first-year MBBS student died under suspicious circumstances in Uttar Pradesh's University of Medical Sciences in Safai. The deceased student's parents believe that fellow students and wardens were complicit in his death. An IED weighing approximately 10 to 12 kgs has been recovered from the area of Behgund in Tral. The police and the army were called in to detonate the explosive at the site, with a major incident being averted in Jammu and Kashmir. The former Chief Minister of Gujarat, Shankar Singh Waghela, has announced his plans to form a no political party in Gujarat called the Prajashakti Democratic Party. The leader said that people were fed up with the BJP, adding that the BJP is taking people of Gujarat for granted. A 46-year-old allegedly with a fake Indian citizenship in 2016 was arrested from Delhi by the Rajasthan police for allegedly spying for Pakistan. The person reportedly got Indian citizenship in 2016 and was working as a taxi driver in Delhi.
And in other sports news, a frustrated Thomas Tuchel insisted that Chelsea only had themselves to blame as they slumped to a 3-0 loss to Leeds. Unbeaten Leeds are third in the Premier League table, while Chelsea are 12th with 4 points from 3 games. Fourth-seeded Stefanos Tsitsipas of Greece.
We are right now showing you the pictures of this flag march, which is right now underway in Shimoga. A message is being sent out clearly to all the people who are breaking the law. They should be scared of the strong actions those are being taken.
Top headlines at 9 a.m. Raids, seizure and FIRs. Excise scam explodes as lookout circular now issued against 8 accused. Silent on mega charges, Sisodia and Kejriwal now take off for Gujarat. Mystery over girl's death in MP quarters in the national capital. Big questions arise. As Congress faces massive backlash for Savarkar insult, Savarkar posters now pasted outside the Congress office in Vijaypur. Mega Rao over FIFA ban, Bhaichung Bhutia now files intervention plea. All eyes now on the top court hearing. As Gupkar Alliance calls for strategy meet at 11 a.m., BJP plans counter strategy meet in Jammu. Andhra Pradesh Chief Minister set to meet Prime Minister Modi. Big speculations as meet comes days after Chandrababu Naidu's meet. Thanks for tuning in this Monday morning. I'm Samiksha Srivastava. We are live and breaking. Lots lined up for you in this edition. Straight away, starting with our top focus. The CBI, remember, on Sunday issued lookout circular against 8 private persons named in the FIR that's been registered in the Delhi excise policy scam. We are told the agency has named a total of 9 private individuals as accused in the FIR. So, tracking closely all the updates coming in on the liquor scam, what we understand as of now is that the lookout circular have been issued against 8 private persons who've also been named in the FIR. We'll go across to our reporters to get us more details. Remember, the CBI has handed the files of the case to the ED as well. So ED will be registering a fresh FIR in connection with the liquor scam. We are told that the summons could also happen of the Deputy Chief Minister of the National Capital by the Enforcement Directorate. This is in fact a source-based information that is coming in. The latest what we understand is that the lookout circular that has been issued against 8 individuals who've been named as accused in the FIR pertaining to the liquor scam. So tracking closely all the updates coming in on the big story that we've been tracking. This is in relation to the liquor case. We'll go across to Anuj as well, who's reporting live from Manish Sisodia's residence. But remember, Manish Sisodia and Arvind Kejriwal will also be visiting Gujarat today. So all of this in the backdrop of the liquor scam, which is getting murkier by the day. We have Piyush Ori reporting live. Piyush, if you could give us the latest details that you're picking up in connection with the liquor scam.
So definitely, as you rightly said, that since there's a lot of financial transaction that is involved in this, the CBI has now transferred this case to ED, and ED will also be investigating the various matters in this case. Now, this comes at the back where 8 accused in this case, 8 private individuals in this case have been, sent a lookout circular. As the investigations of the Central Bureau of Investigation and the Enforcement Directorate is going on, Manish Sisodia, who is the main accused in the case, today will be going to Arvind Kejriwal to Gujarat, where they would be campaigning for the upcoming assembly elections. Now, mind you, there's a lot at stake now for Aam Aadmi Party, who are expected to fight assembly elections not only in Gujarat, but also Himachal Pradesh. So what they're trying to do is that they are taking the opportunity of this crisis which they are facing themselves in, of this excise liquor scam, and trying to, make it into a political opportunity, saying that, this is a ploy by the BJP-led government to defame them and defame all their good work. So while the political campaigning is being taken, done by Aam Aadmi Party in all this scenario, the most important aspect is that the technical aspects of this case is being investigated by the Central Bureau of Investigation and Enforcement Directorate, and there is problem going to increase for all the major accused in this case that not only involves Manish Sisodia but also 14 other accused that involves not only some liquor barons but also some top bureaucrats that were working in Delhi government and had involved in formulating this liquor policy. Back to the studio.
All right, Piyush, thank you for the moment. We'll keep coming back to you as you track all the latest on that. So closely tracking all the updates on that story. Remember, Kejriwal and Sisodia will be in Gujarat today to sound the poll bugle. So closely tracking all the updates in this case. Remember, the ED has been given the case files as well by the CBI in connection with the liquor scam. Meanwhile, tracking another big story, this one coming in from J&K, where the BJP has called for a counter-strategy meet that will take place in Jammu today. In fact, the BJP saying that the opposition is trying to mislead and calling for a counter-strategy meet that will take place. Remember, Farooq Abdullah has also called for an in fact, he's called for a meet as well at 11 a.m. On that note, let's listen into the reaction coming in from the BJP as far as this counter-strategy meet that is concerned, which will take place in Jammu.
भी अपनी काउंटर स्ट्रेटजी मीटिंग बुलाई है, इस मीटिंग का क्या उद्देश्य रहेगा?
देखिए, जिस प्रकार से इलेक्शन कमीशन द्वारा एक प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस की गई थी, उसमें कुछ बातें कही गई, लेकिन उसको गलत गाइड करके गुमराह करने की लोगों को प्रयास किया जा रहा है अपोजिशन द्वारा। ऐसा नहीं है कि पूरे भारतवर्ष में जहाँ भी कहीं इलेक्शन होते हैं, नए वोट बनते हैं और जो कुछ वहाँ के बाशिंदे हैं उनके बारे में चिंता की जाती है, मुझे लगता है उसको लेकर के ये कहा गया था। हालांकि जब अपोजिशन ने शोर मचाना शुरू किया तो उसके बाद क्लैरिटी जो थी इलेक्शन कमीशन द्वारा एक नोटिफिकेशन जारी करके दी गई, लेकिन उसके बावजूद इस प्रकार की कोशिश की जा रही है कि बाहर से लोग आएंगे। ये कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन ने एक अधिकार दिया है लोगों को वोटों का। और जहाँ तक डोमिसाइल का सवाल है वो एक अलग चीज़ है। इन सभी विषयों को लेकर के आज भारतीय जनता पार्टी भी इस पर बैठक कर रही है।
And Gursimran is joining us live, closely following all the updates on this meet that has been called. Gursimran, if you could talk to us more about the agenda of this meet that has been called by Farooq Abdullah on one hand, the all-party meet, as well as the BJP counter-strategy meet that will take place at 11 a.m.
See, this all started with the briefing of the Chief Electoral Officer, in which he spoke about the new voters, around 25 lakh new voters getting added to the voter list of the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir. And also he said that those living in the Union Territory from outside Jammu and Kashmir will be part of this voting list, as the People Representation Act has been fully implemented post abrogation of Article 370 and 35 alpha. Now what the opposition parties are saying, that 25 lakh new voters from non-local voters specifically, they will be added to the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir. They will be able to contest the election here as well. Once they become the voter, they will also be able to contest the election, and these 25 lakh voters, which they term as the non-local voters, will have a huge impact on the demography as well as the result of the elections. And BJP is using this as an opportunity to make the government in the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir. And for the same of Umar Abdullah, Farooq Abdullah, they will be taking part in the meeting called by Farooq Abdullah in the capacity of PAGD chairman. Now what the BJP is looking into it, BJP knows very well that if the Gupkar alliance managed to spread this narrative that the non-locals will dent the people of Jammu and Kashmir, this is going to harm them politically a lot. This is the reality that the BJP has accepted, and that's why they have called this counter strategy meet, in which the BJP will be brainstorming on the future strategy. And what we are getting to know from the top sources, that the BJP will be launching a massive campaign against this much hyped 25 lakh non-local voters campaign of the opposition. They will be going to the people, telling them that this is part of the India's constitution, and post abrogation it was bound to happen in the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, as it is applicable elsewhere in India also. So it has to be seen how BJP takes this challenge from the opposition parties, because see, this is going to be one of the key agenda of the opposition for quite a while now, as after today's meeting we are getting to know that the Gupkar alliance will be intensifying the protest against the Election Commission. Even today, a protest against the Election Commission has been called by the People's Democratic Party in Jammu. So this is something that the BJP has taken really very seriously, because they know that it can dent them badly in the upcoming assembly elections in Jammu and Kashmir.
All right, Gursimran, thank you for the moment. So Gursimran, they are reporting live from Jammu. We'll keep coming back to you, Gursimran, as you track all the latest on these meetings. And back-to-back breakings coming in. This one from Rajasthan, where we are told that the crime branch team of the police in Jaipur has taken a big action. We are told that the police raided a farmhouse in Jaipur rural area late night on Saturday. Now, during this raid, the police seized 12 luxury cars and also detained 15 individuals, including in fact, that is the news coming in from Jaipur, where the crime branch has raided a Jaipur farmhouse in which 12 luxury cars have been seized and 80 people, we are told, have been detained, is what we are given to understand. We'll go across to our reporters to get us more information, but a developing story there, as this is a big raid that was conducted by the crime branch team of police in Jaipur, where 12 luxury cars were seized from this farmhouse that was raided. So, news coming in from Jaipur, where a big action, a mega crackdown by the crime branch team of police, where a farmhouse was raided in Jaipur rural area on Saturday night. In this siege, in fact, in these raids, the police detained 12 luxury cars and also detained people. As you can see, these are the visuals of the raids. The first visuals coming right now of the mega raids that were conducted by the Jaipur crime branch, in which luxury cars were seized. As you can see, there seems to be a party that seems to be going on when these raids were conducted. 12 luxury cars, we are told, were seized, and there were people as well. In fact, 80 individuals who were detained after the raids happened. We have Amardeep reporting live from Jaipur to get us more details on that. Jaipur, Amardeep, if you could give us more details on these raids that were conducted by the crime branch team of police.
देखिए, ये रेव पार्टी जयपुर रूरल में आयोजित की गई थी। दिल्ली के 2 व्यक्तियों ने इस पार्टी को आयोजित किया था और वहीं से ही बाहर के ये लोग बुलाए गए थे, जिसमें साउथ के कुछ लोग थे, हरियाणा के थे, दिल्ली के थे, एमपी के लोग मौजूद थे, जिसमें कुछ डेलीगेट्स को भी शामिल किया गया था, जिसमें साउथ के 2-3 अधिकारी भी शामिल बताए जा रहे हैं। इसके अलावा इसमें करीब 80 लोगों को हिरासत में लिया गया है और ये फार्म हाउस में ये पार्टी का जो आयोजन किया गया था, एक इवेंट बना करके इसको आयोजन किया गया था, जिसको लेकर के लगातार जो चीजें थी वो लगातार इनपुट्स पुलिस के पास थे। देर रात शनिवार देर रात इस कार्रवाई को अंजाम दिया गया और एक पुलिस की बड़ी टीम ने इसको कार्रवाई करते हुए करीब 80 लोगों को हिरासत में लिया है और ऑर्गेनाइजर जो थे, पार्टी के ऑर्गेनाइजर, उनको भी हिरासत में लेकर
And on to big breaking news coming in right now. The government, we are told, has asked the Supreme Court to reconsider the order of Supreme Court so the World Cup can take place in the country. So that's the big breaking update coming in. The centre asking the Supreme Court to reconsider the FIFA order is what we are given to understand. That's the latest coming in. More details are awaited. We'll go across to Rhythm also to get a perspective on this big story coming in, where the government has asked the Supreme Court to reconsider the FIFA order. So that's the latest coming in. The government has asked the centre. In fact, the government, we are told, has filed an application in the Supreme Court saying that the prime priority of stakeholders is to make efforts to revoke the suspension. The government has asked the Supreme Court to modify its May and August 3rd order. Government saying that direct the day-to-day management of the AIFA to be looked at by the administration, and the COA would have no rule in the administration. That's a breaking update coming in. The government asking the Supreme Court to reconsider its FIFA order. So that's the big breaking news coming in. It's a Republic super exclusive with regard to the FIFA ban, the story that we've been tracking since day one. Government now asking the Supreme Court to reconsider its order so that the World Cup can take place, asking, in fact, filing the government has filed an application in the top court. Rhythm is joining us for more details. Rhythm, over to you. Take us through the details.
Viewers, for the very first time, Republic gets this super exclusive on what the government is going to ask the Supreme Court to do. We have with us the application that has been filed by the government, exclusively accessed by Republic TV. We'll be just putting out the shots shortly, but it's for the very first time that I am seeing that the government has asked the Supreme Court in this case to reconsider its orders. What does this mean? Remember, in the last hearings, the Supreme Court had asked for a committee of administrators, that is a COA, to look into the working of the Indian Football Federation. Simply put, the government is asking them to revoke or to go back to modify their earlier orders because these are certain demands that have been made by FIFA. I start off by reading this application, and why this is so crucial is because it's been filed and settled by the Solicitor General of India. It's been filed by advocates in this case that are very crucial, and I just want to read this out to our viewers. Rajat Nair has filed this application. It's settled by Tushar Mehta, the Solicitor General of India. Amrish is the advocate on record, and in the end what it really says is modify the orders. It starts off by saying something we are putting on our screens, viewers, exclusively a massive case development happening in the Supreme Court in this case, where the Supreme Court is being told it is paramount to ensure that we have continued desire to be looking at FIFA because the Under-17 World Cup should be scheduled to continue taking place. They start off by saying what we put out on our screens, that is that the applicant has been in touch with FIFA. We have communicated what has happened. In light of serious consequences, it is prime priority of all stakeholders to make efforts that the direction of revocation is there of suspension from FIFA. So in the first paragraph that we are putting on our screen, what the government is telling the Supreme Court is we need to have a prime priority to revoke FIFA suspension. Because of that, this particular application that is filed before the Supreme Supreme Court that is going to be hearing the football cases today says the government should took up the issue immediately with FIFA administration. Because for the first time we are bringing to you great details about what has been happening with what the government has been doing in this regard with FIFA. The government now says the government of India took up the issue with FIFA administration in response to discussions that were held on the 15th of August. FIFA sent an email which I'll just read out to you in a short while, and that is also there. They've said that the fact is that the notice of the Supreme Court, which is recorded by the Honorable Court in this case, has also been put here. They're saying after meetings that the government had with FIFA in continued pursuance, there are further constant discussions and deliberations that continue happening between the government and the FIFA. Government also sent a communication to FIFA. In light of the above, in the interest of football, the government writes, in the interest of all those players who deserve to play football at the international level and the larger national interest in the global stage, with a view to ensure FIFA revokes the suspension, the applicant is filing this, and it is submitted that the consensus that has been concerns of FIFA are about the management of Football Federation of India and the way it's happening with the Committee of Administrators. So they say the applicant states that the process of finalization is completed by COA. They're talking about the administration of the Football Federation and how it's working and how the players and the council will be working in page 9 and 10. As I'm speaking, I'm setting it out and telling our viewers, because of the suggested changes in the Electoral College, the change in the voters list will affect the validity. Submitted problem facing the country is acute. Okay, para 20, very crucial, viewers. It says the problem facing the country when it comes to football is acute. It's of immense importance. India does not lose the rights to host the prestigious FIFA Under-17 Women's World Cup, nor the brilliant football players of the country are deprived of participating in international competitions. Because of this, the government says we are wanting the indulgence of the Supreme Court, which is the only way forward and to serve the large interest of the nation. Viewers, I am seeing for the very first time, one of the very rare times, the government is asking, and they've said this also somewhere that I was reading, it's in a rare case, they're requesting the indulgence of the top court of the country to modify its orders to ensure in the larger national interest that football continues and the World Cup continues to be held in India. So what are they really asking for? In para 22 they list out, we want the orders of the Supreme Court to be modified. The day-to-day management of AIFF, that's the Football Indian Federation, should be only by the AIFF administration and the acting secretary. The COA appointed by the Supreme Court should have no role in the administration of AIFF. They require the COA to submit a final draft constitution, and then the COA draft should be declared over. They also say we want to modify the election. They say that one of the things is to modify the election program referred to in para 15 to direct the election from the states stipulated upon the containing. Be pleased that okay. So I'm not going into great details of this, but I'm also going to go across now, viewers. So what has really happened today? Breaking news coming first on Republic TV, a massive super exclusive where we telling our viewers the government files an application in the top court of the country. They say it is most important for us to have the indulgence of the Supreme Court, one of the rare times when the Supreme Court is being requested by the government to modify its orders to ensure that the football matches are held in India. They're asking for certain modification which they wanted because the FIFA has been in touch with them, and FIFA seems to be troubled with the Committee of Administrators that had been constituted by the Supreme Court. I'm also going to go across now to read what the FIFA has in its FIFA has told India. This is dated 20th of August, that is Saturday. On Saturday, FIFA wrote to India and said, we acknowledge the receipt of your email regarding the application to be submitted to the Supreme Court. It will be of utmost importance. Instead of formulation of COA will have no role. It should be expedited, that there should be no that the COA's mandate is repealed. Viewers, let me just tell you, at the end of the day, the entire controversy seems to be around the Committee of Administrators, which is called the COA, that was formed by the Supreme Court to ensure that the Football Federation in India works in a proper manner. FIFA, the world governing body, has conflicts with this, and they say that the Committee of Administrators should be repealed, their mandate should be repealed, they should have no role. I am now reading out exclusively the particular email that has been sent by FIFA to India, where they say that the Committee of Administrators mandate should be repealed. In this context, we want to underline that the decision of the Bureau of FIFA Council's mandate must be repealed in full. And then they say that in your correspondence you have said the above press, if granted and implemented, are met, the suspension will be revoked. Has to be emphasized that as a FIFA administrator, we do not have the authority to provide such a confirmation. We will report the developments of the case based on whatever you tell us. In this context, we can assure you that the conditions of lifting of the suspension are satisfied in the, as foreseen in the Bureau of FIFA Council decision, be satisfied by the final order. The FIFA will, all right. So let me tell you what the contents of the FIFA letter are that have been given to the government of India. They are saying to the government, to the sports, to the officials who wrote to them, they are saying we want the mandate of the COA to be repealed. Only the FIFA administrators should be looking at what has to happen in FIFA. That is the first demand that has been made by FIFA to Indian Football Federation. They say if this happens, we will report it to the FIFA Council and we will try our level best to see that the suspension is lifted. So a massive application being filed in the Supreme Court. In some short while from now, we shall be knowing what happens in this, but this is a big move forward by the central government to ensure that the matches continue to be played in India.
Yes. Well, Rhythm, stay with us. If you could talk to us more about how important these games are for the country, because yes, India was eagerly looking forward, because a lot is at stake when we talk about these games that are scheduled for October this year.
Yes, I just want to play out and show our viewers the FIFA letter, FIFA email to India, which we shall just break. So as we are putting that out, I also want to tell our viewers that there are 2 to 3 points that we're going to be putting out here. It's in the interest of all the players. Para 13 also says it's in the interest of the players and in general that that FIFA should revoke the suspension. So viewers, there are a couple of things I want to tell our viewers today. The government has filed, in a very rare move, an application in the top court asking for indulgence of the Supreme Court to revoke or to modify its orders of 18th May and 3rd August. Both these orders had given a sort of roadmap to ensure that Football Federation is managed by Football Federation administrators, but it is also overlooked for the time being by a COA. A COA is a committee of administrators that had been constituted to ensure that this is looked at, which includes Justice Dave, Bhaskar Ganguly, former Supreme Court Judge Justice Dave, Bhaskar Ganguly, as well as Mr. Qureshi. All three of them constituted the COA. Today what has happened is the government files this application where they say FIFA has been in touch with them and FIFA is most bothered and troubled with the appointment of the COA. If we actually put this into context in the international arena, even earlier we've seen FIFA suspend certain football federations only because they believe that the government, because of certain administrators who are at the helm of affairs, are not chosen correctly. So this is the concern that FIFA has. We are not questioning and we are not going into yes or no or wrong or right or what they've done, but the government has once again, to set the positive tone that they had tried, have been in talks with FIFA. They've said only in the interest of the game and the brilliant football players, we want this particular suspension to be lifted. So what do we want to do? There are certain details that FIFA has asked for and we would like the Supreme Court orders to be modified. They've also now got an email from FIFA, which I'm just going to put out exclusively for our viewers. The email that has been given by FIFA very, very clearly shows that FIFA is telling the government of India that today we want to ensure that the FIFA ban should be lifted. And what is the government, the FIFA ban, saying that first the COA mandate should be repealed. This is the only ground that the FIFA has in its email that has been given to India. They want the particular COA mandate to be repealed. They say the moment that happens, we're going to come back and tell the FIFA Council what has happened, and hopefully the suspension should be lifted. So it is a government that is going all out to ensure that the World Cup under 70 matches are held in India. We also have on the phone line President of Haryana Football Association, Surajpal Amu. Mr. Amu, how are you looking at developments where the government is now asking for modification of the Supreme Court orders to see that the COA's role is and the mandate is repealed, because that's what the demand of the FIFA is?
मुझे लगता है कि जो COA है और भारत सरकार है, निश्चित तौर पर इस मसले को सुलझाना चाहती है और फीफा के साथ मिलके हम जो अंडर 17 का जो महिला जो वर्ल्ड कप होने वाला है यहाँ पर, हम चाहते हैं प्रॉपर हो। हम फीफा से भी अनुरोध करते हैं और सभी स्टेट यूनिट्स रिक्वेस्ट करते हैं, पूरी इंडिया करती है, पूरे इंडिया के जो हमारी बेटियां हैं वो सब रिक्वेस्ट करती है कि फीफा को कम से कम हिंदुस्तान की जो इतने बड़े आयोजन के लिए भारत सरकार तैयार हुई है, जो देश का प्रधानमंत्री चाहता है कि फीफा ये बैन हटाए, भारत सरकार चाहती है फीफा ये बैन हटाए, वो इसलिए हटाए क्योंकि विश्व के अंदर सबसे अधिक खेले जाने वाला फुटबॉल, हिंदुस्तान जो विश्व की सबसे बड़ी दूसरे नंबर की आबादी वाला देश है, वहाँ पर फुटबॉल का कैसे गांव-गांव तक फुटबॉल फैले, महिला फुटबॉल हो, बॉयज फुटबॉल हो, किस प्रकार से आगे बढ़े। तो फीफा से मेरी रिक्वेस्ट रिपब्लिक के माध्यम से कि हमारे ऊपर जुल्म ना करें। मैं एक बात कहना चाहता हूँ, प्रफुल्ल पटेल को कम से कम वो एशियन फुटबॉल को यहाँ से हेड करते हैं और वो $2.5 लाख लेते हैं। मैं प्रफुल्ल पटेल से भी कहूँगा,
जो आप बात कह रहे हैं वो सही है, मगर अभी जो गवर्नमेंट ने बोला है ये बहुत ही क्रूशल है, क्योंकि जो गवर्नमेंट कह रही है वो है कि हमें आगे बढ़ना है तो सुप्रीम कोर्ट के ऑर्डर्स मॉडिफाई होने चाहिए।
निश्चित तौर पे अगर किसी मसले का समाधान करना है, किसी विषय को सुलझाना है, किसी समस्या का समाधान निकालना है, तो मिल बैठकर निकलेंगे। और भारत सरकार के और COA की तरफ से भी आपस में चर्चाएं हो रही है और फीफा के साथ अनुराग ठाकुर जो हमारे खेल मंत्री हैं वो लगातार और मुझे पूरी उम्मीद है कि अनुराग ठाकुर बहुत सुलझे हुए व्यक्ति हैं और निश्चित तौर पर इस मसले को सुलझाएंगे। और फीफा से मैं रिपब्लिक के माध्यम से रिक्वेस्ट कर रहा हूँ कि प्लीज हमारे ऊपर हमको कोऑपरेट करें और हिंदुस्तान के जो फुटबॉल खिलाड़ी हैं, हिंदुस्तान बहुत तेजी से फुटबॉल को गांव-गांव तक पहुंचा रहा है। फुटबॉल के खिलाड़ी, मैं हरियाणा से हूं, मेरी हरियाणा की एक गांव है अलगपुरा गांव, हरियाणा की बहुत सारी बेटियां बहुत सारे स्टेट्स की ओर से खेल रही हैं, हरियाणा की ओर से खेल रही हैं, नेशनल टीम में खेल रही हैं, एशियन टीम्स में जा रही हैं। कम से कम ऐसा ना हो कि उन बच्चियों का दिल टूट जाए। हम बेटी बचाओ, बेटी पढ़ाओ, बेटी खिलाओ की बात करते हैं और हिंदुस्तान बेटियों को
जैसे मिस्टर अमू कह रहे हैं of the Haryana Football Association, we have to see how this leads forward. As I'm going to hand it back to the studio, the breaking news that's coming in: the Supreme Court is being asked for its indulgence to, for now, modify its orders to ensure that the World Cup is held in India.
All right, Rhythm, thank you so much for that. We'll keep coming back to you. So the big move by the centre asking the SC to reconsider its order. Top headlines at 9:30. It's a Republic super exclusive. Government asks top court to reconsider FIFA order. Mega row over FIFA ban. Bhaichung Bhutia files intervention plea. All eyes now on top court hearing. Raid, seizure and FIRs. Excise scam explodes as lookout circular now issued against 8 accused. Silent on mega charges, Sisodia and Kejriwal now take off for Gujarat. Mystery over girl's death in MP quarters in the national capital. Big questions arise. As Congress faces massive backlash for Savarkar insult, Savarkar posters now pasted outside Congress office in Vijaypur. As Gupkar Alliance calls for strategy meet at 11 a.m., BJP plans counter strategy meet in Jammu. Andhra Pradesh Chief Minister said to meet the Prime Minister today. Big speculations as meet comes days after Chandrababu Naidu's meet. Well, tracking the big breaking news coming in right now. This is in relation to the CBI case. The breaking update coming in that new summons are likely by the CBI. We have our senior editor Shravan breaking that story for us. Shravan, take us through all the big updates that you're tracking.
In fact, Samiksha, the latest details now coming in is that after 5 private individuals who were questioned by the Central Bureau of Investigation, now we are being told that in the course of the day, it is expected that more number of people would be called in for questioning. Remember, yesterday there was also another development coming in that the lookout circular has already been issued against 8 private individuals. There are about 9 private individuals who've been named in the FIR, barring one, about 8 against whom the lookout circular has already been issued. 5 people have already been called in for questioning. We are being told that in all likelihood more people would be called in for questioning right now. Whether at all the Deputy Chief Minister would be called in for questioning, that clarity is still not there. But it appears that the Central Bureau of Investigation perhaps wants to finish off the questioning of at least about 13 to 14 people who have been named in the FIR before they finally call in the Deputy Chief Minister for questioning. As of now, we've been told that 5 individuals who were basically called in for questioning are either directly or indirectly linked to the facilitation of the bribes. That's the latest that we are picking up at this point in time.
All right, Shravan Sen, of course, continuing to bring us the latest on this. Shravan, as you're pointing out, of course, last Saturday, 5 people were questioned. Now, they were questioned nearly for 12 hours. Give us more details in terms of what we are expecting in terms of forward movement on this case.
Well, Nupur, at this point in time, all that we can say is that perhaps the Central Bureau of Investigation wants to first of all examine all the documents that were basically recovered during the searches that were carried out just about a few days ago. After the examination of the documents is over, perhaps you would expect more number of people to be called in for questioning. Right now, the area of concentration happens to be those who were part of the formulation of the excise policy, and whether at all they were basically receiving some sort of commissions or not. Because if you really look at some of the allegations that have been leveled by the Chief Secretary in his report, they are essentially highlighting the fact that there are financial malpractices and there is a possibility of quid pro quo. If there is a possibility of quid pro quo, then who exactly is involved and who is essentially benefited out of it? The other big development that could also take place in the course of the day is some confirmation now coming in from the Enforcement Directorate regarding a money laundering case altogether. Because we are being told that in the last 24 to 48 hours, the case files have also been shared with the Enforcement Directorate. They are also making a preliminary assessment of whether at all there have been any foreign remittances that have taken place and whether at all there is an angle of money laundering at this point in time.
All right, Shravan Sen, of course, continuing to bring us the latest on that. Thank you for joining us, Shravan. All right, news just coming in. We're now learning that the government has asked the Supreme Court to reconsider the order of the Supreme Court so that the World Cup can be held in India. I'm going to go across to our legal editor, Ridham Anand Bhardwaj, who joins us on this now. Ridham, one of the key things over here, of course, is to make sure that the FIFA Under-17 Women's World Cup actually goes forward. And that's something that, you know, we've seen how much emphasis the government has been placing on this particular thing. So we're now given to understand that the Supreme Court has been asked to reconsider its order?
Yes, absolutely. This is on the basis of how the COA had been formed, Nupur, and the FIFA has written COA mandate repeal. All right. So, Nupur, coming to you, a big exclusive coming on Republic TV. As we've now been told, an application is filed by the government. We've accessed the application. We've gone through the FIFA email that has been written to the authorities. And what they are essentially saying is that there was a COA, that's the Committee of Administrators, that had been constituted by the Supreme Court to look into and ensure that there is fairness maintained in the Indian Football Federation. However, FIFA has not understood the reason why the COA is formed. I don't want to go into details about what and how FIFA has reached this conclusion, but FIFA has, and FIFA in an email dated 20th of August, that is on Saturday, has written back to authorities and saying that in case in your application filed before the government, before the Supreme Court, you're able to have the Supreme Court's order modified, which is to say that there should be no COA mandate anymore in Football Federation. We shall think about lifting the suspension that is there on India. Let's tell our viewers that this application that has been filed by the government is a very rare occurrence. We very rarely see the government asking for indulgence of the Supreme Court to modify its orders. The government has in its affidavit said exactly what the Supreme Court had been told in an earlier hearing by the government's top law officer, the Solicitor General, Mr. Tushar Mehta. The government in its application tells the Supreme Court in clear terms that they want this indulgence only because its prime concern is the stakeholders. The priority is to revoke the suspension to ensure the Under-17 World Cup is held in India, and to have that possible, the government says the Supreme Court has been told that only one demand has been made by FIFA, that is to revoke the mandate that was given to the Committee of Administrators. We've also accessed the FIFA's letter to authorities in India over what they really want, and today becomes a very crucial hearing because today we have to see not what's been internal conflicts that have been happening in the game with Bhechung Bhutia filing an intervention application supporting the COA, with certain people supporting Praful Patel filing applications. The government is very clear. All the government wants is to ensure that the Under-17 World Cup is held in India. They don't want to get into any internal conflict, and that is the mature, correct, determined way forward. So the government in its application that is filed before the Supreme Court says that this is the grief or grouse that FIFA has, and only because it's their prime concern, and we have to see about the stakes, the prestige of India, and to ensure that the games are held in India in October, we would request the Supreme Court's indulgence to modify its orders. Now, even as we're waiting, Nupur, for that very crucial hearing, I'm going to read out details of what the Supreme Court has been told in para 13 of this application, exclusively accessed by Republic TV. It says, in the interest of the game of football in the country in general, and in the interest of all those players who deserve to play football at the international level and in larger national interest in global stage, with a view to ensure FIFA revokes the suspension and the adverse consequences flowing thereof, the applicant is filing this application seeking indulgence of the Supreme Court. It is a very respectful and it strikes the right note when we read the application, because the Supreme Court is only being told by the government what FIFA has asked for. They also say right at the very start that the prime priority is the stakeholders and one effort to revoke the suspension.
Also now, Rhythm, at the heart of it obviously is going to be the fact that there is a COA that's been formed by the Supreme Court, and the fact that, you know, the FIFA World Governing Body wants to go on with the AIFF, you know, that's the governing body for India. But you know, broadly also, it is about the future of football in India as well, because we've seen the kind of push that the government has given to football. You know, the Prime Minister in several of his speeches has repeatedly mentioned the fact that football is a game that needs to be pursued in the country. And we've seen, you know, that on the ground as well, with the number and the mushrooming of these football coaching centers. And not just that, there is a concerted push from the Sports Ministry towards the game.
Yes, absolutely. This is something, Nupur, the government has been doing. In fact, the Supreme Court has been asked, and as I'm typing it out so that our flashes are right, is the Supreme Court has been asked to modify its orders. So what this essentially means, like you rightly started off by saying, I want to first talk about the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister was delighted that the Under-17 World Cup would be held in India in October in 3 states. In fact, the Home Minister had tweeted about it. This sudden suspension came as a complete shock to India. We were surprised at the way this was happening, but the government requested for time till today to ensure that they continue talks with FIFA. The government has done that. They have broken the ice. Amicable resolution and conversation has been held with the World Governing Body. And finally, they've come to this particular thing that we want to first tell our viewers, and we want to tell, I beg your pardon, we want to tell the top court of the country that we want their indulgence. And the government says the only reason we want this is to have the prestige of the game covered. We want the brilliant football players to play their match. So this is directly, Nupur, in touch what you are saying. The message comes directly from the Prime Minister. We want to ensure the World Cup is held in India in October.
Absolutely. Rhythm Anand Bhardwaj continues to be with us. She's breaking down what you're expecting in the Supreme Court today. We slip into a very short break here. On the other side, we bring you more. You are watching Republic TV, and still to come, we get you more details on what's expected in the Supreme Court today.
Amity has been ranked India's #1 private university for the 10th year by India Today, a testimony to Amity's world-class education whilst imbibing values and sanskars in students.
A quick look at what else is making news this morning. The Delhi police have issued a statement over the girl's death at the MP quarters. The police says that they believe it could be a case of suicide. The family of the girl, however, do not believe the girl could have committed suicide. Another video of an assault by a woman has surfaced from Madhya Pradesh, where a woman was seen assaulting an auto rickshaw driver in the state of intoxication. The police reportedly did not intervene in the altercation. At least 8 workers of the Congress party have been booked for burning posters of V.D. Savarkar in Dharwad. Reacting to this incident, Karnataka's Chief Minister Basavaraj Bommai has said that ideologies ought to be fought ideologically. The arrest came following a protest by the BJP in the Bajrang Dal in Dharwad in response to a poster of Savarkar being burnt. Farmers have called for an agitation in Delhi as their demands for a minimum support price, along with the resignation of the Union Minister Ajay Mishra, amongst others, have led to several farmers gathering at the capital in order to protest at Jantar Mantar. Police personnel have been deployed across the border ahead of gathering. A first-year MBBS student died under suspicious circumstances in Uttar Pradesh's University of Medical Sciences in Safai. The deceased student's parents believe that fellow students and wardens were complicit in his death. An IED weighing approximately 10 to 12 kgs has been recovered from the area of Behgund in Tral. The police and the army were called in to detonate the explosive at the site, with a major incident being averted in Jammu and Kashmir. The former Chief Minister of Gujarat, Shankar Singh Waghela, has announced his plans to form a no political party in Gujarat called the Prajashakti Democratic Party. The leader said that people were fed up with the BJP, adding that the BJP is taking people of Gujarat for granted. A 46-year-old allegedly with a fake Indian citizenship in 2016 was arrested from Delhi by the Rajasthan police for allegedly spying for Pakistan. The person reportedly got Indian citizenship in 2016 and was working as a taxi driver in Delhi.
And in other sports news, a frustrated Thomas Tuchel insisted that Chelsea only had themselves to blame as they slumped to a 3-0 loss to Leeds. Unbeaten Leeds are third in the Premier League table, while Chelsea are 12th with 4 points from 3 games. Fourth-seeded Stefanos Tsitsipas of Greece proved his dance moves after he defeated the world number 1 Daniil Medvedev of Russia to reach the finals at the Cincinnati Open.
Welcome back. You are watching Republic TV. Now, in a move to get the FIFA ban on the AIFF revoked, the central government has moved an application in the Supreme Court seeking an end to the mandate of the Committee of Administrators as demanded by the world governing body. This, of course, is a rare case. Let's go across to Rhythm, who's our legal editor. Rhythm, what we've been talking about, of course, is that as far as the government is concerned, they can deal with the situation later on. First of all, they want the ban invoked on AIFF. To remember that there is a Women's Under-17 World Cup that's scheduled to be held in India in October. Now, the Sports Ministry, of course, has now asked the court a day before this crucial hearing of the top court to at least modify its earlier order. Now, this move, of course, is being seen as an attempt to salvage the FIFA Under-17 Women's World Cup that's scheduled to be held in October. The world body on August 15 had imposed a ban on the All India Football Federation due to third-party interference and said the government's age group showpiece cannot currently be held in India as planned. On the phone line with me is Mr. Kapil Sankla. Mr. Sankla, good morning. Thank you for speaking to us on Republic TV. Mr. Sankla, now, this is something that's not very ordinarily seen, where the government asks the Supreme Court to reconsider its earlier order so that, a showpiece event can be held in the country. What do you make of what the government's application in the Supreme Court that has been filed yesterday?
I think it is extremely magnanimous of the government to have moved this application, and the reason is this. There's an international body where there are certain rules The certain rules stipulate that there cannot be any litigation or third-party interference. In this particular case, due to the conduct of Mr. Patel and the erstwhile office bearers, there has been certain disputes which went to the Honorable Supreme Court. The Honorable Supreme Court appointed a COA. That amounts to third-party interference as far as the Federation is concerned. And so under those circumstances, India would have lost the opportunity of this showcase event. And therefore, for the government, in the larger interest, in the larger scheme of things to have moved this application, I think is extremely highly commendable.
Right, Mr. Sankla, appreciate your speaking to us on Republic TV. So that's the word that's coming in. Perhaps it's still not too late to salvage the Under-17 World Cup that's going to be held in India. You are watching Republic TV. We're going to slip into a very short break here. On the other side, we bring you more on this. And when we return, we get you the details of what's happening in court today.
Amity has been ranked India's #1 private university for the 10th year by India Today, a testimony to Amity's world-class education whilst imbibing values and sanskars in students.
Farmers have called for an agitation in Delhi as their demands for a minimum support price, along with the resignation of the Union Minister Ajay Mishra, amongst others, have led to several farmers gathering at the capital in order to protest at Jantar Mantar. Police personnel have been deployed across the border ahead of gathering. A first-year MBBS student died under suspicious circumstances in Uttar Pradesh's University of Medical Sciences in Safai. The deceased student's parents believe that fellow students and wardens were complicit in his death. An IED weighing approximately 10 to 12 kgs has been recovered from the area of Behgund in Tral. The police and the army were called in to detonate the explosive at the site, with a major incident being averted in Jammu and Kashmir. The former Chief Minister of Gujarat, Shankar Singh Waghela, has announced his plans to form a no political party in Gujarat called the Prajashakti Democratic Party. The leader said that people were fed up with the BJP, adding that the BJP is taking people of Gujarat for granted. A 46-year-old allegedly with a fake Indian citizenship in 2016 was arrested from Delhi by the Rajasthan police for allegedly spying for Pakistan. The person reportedly got Indian citizenship in 2016 and was working as a taxi driver in Delhi.
And in other sports news, a frustrated Thomas Tuchel insisted that Chelsea only had themselves to blame as they slumped to a 3-0 loss to Leeds. Unbeaten Leeds are third in the Premier League table, while Chelsea are 12th with 4 points from 3 games. Fourth-seeded Stefanos Tsitsipas of Greece proved his dance moves after he defeated the world #1 Daniil Medvedev of Russia to reach the finals at the Cincinnati Open. Maximilian Kiefer, on his 249th attempt, lifted his maiden DP World Tour title. Despite trailing by 4 shots going to the final day of the Czech Masters in Prague, Kiefer carded a near faultless round of 66 to finish 16 under par and held a 1-shot lead over Green, who was making his way around the last 2 holes. And in other international
Welcome back. You're watching Republic TV. Now, in a move to get the FIFA ban on the AIFF revoked, the central government has moved an application to the Supreme Court seeking to end the mandate of the COA, that's the Committee of Administrators, as demanded by the world governing body of FIFA. Do remember that there was a letter that was written by FIFA to the government earlier. Let me go across to Rhythm, who's getting us all the details on this. Rhythm, now this particular letter that FIFA had in fact written talks about removing the COA and letting all the affairs be handled by the AIFF, failing which FIFA of course has said that it will not be able to hold the Under-17 Women's World Cup in India that's scheduled, I think, for October.
Yes, absolutely. So today comes in forward before a big hearing that's going to happen in the Supreme Court. And what the Supreme Court is going to be told by the government is, we want your indulgence to revoke or to modify your Supreme Court order dated 18th of May, by which there was a constitution of a COA, and the 3rd of August that had laid down the roadmap ahead for Indian Football Federation. Remember, the government had only spoken about it after various parties had moved before them. We've seen several contempt pleas filed before them. There are football application pleas filed. There are Bechung Bhuti and other members are filing their intervention application. But finally, keeping all things aside in the internal conflict in Football Federation aside, the government has said, Nupur, only one thing: we want to ensure that the prestige of India continues to be maintained. We want the prime stakeholders to ensure that the suspension ban is lifted. So the most important thing for the government and for our viewers and for the brilliant footballers that the Supreme Court has been told by the government and referred to as is, this ban has to be lifted. If that is the only focus, that sentence becomes extremely crucial, because only on the basis of the sentence, all such talks, all discussions and resolutions happening by the government along with the world governing body FIFA. Now, FIFA has only one grouse. They don't want that the internal workings of the Football Federation should be by any outside influence, according to them. Keeping that in mind, this particular hearing is going to be seeing this application by the government where they request the Supreme Court's indulgence to revoke, to modify the Supreme Court order so that the ban is lifted.
All right, Rhythm, of course, continues to be with us. We're going to slip into a very short break here. When we return, we are going to be breaking down what we're expecting in the Supreme Court today. The former Chief Minister of Gujarat, Shankar Singh Waghela, has announced his plans to form a no political party in Gujarat called the Prajashakti Democratic Party. The leader said that people were fed up with the BJP, adding that the BJP is taking people of Gujarat for granted. A 46-year-old allegedly with a fake Indian citizenship in 2016 was arrested from Delhi by the Rajasthan police for allegedly spying for Pakistan. The person reportedly got Indian citizenship in 2016 and was working as a taxi driver in Delhi.
And in other sports news, a frustrated Thomas Tuchel insisted that Chelsea only had themselves to blame as they slumped to a 3-0 loss to Leeds. Unbeaten Leeds are third in the Premier League table, while Chelsea are 12th with 4 points from 3 games. Fourth-seeded Stefanos Tsitsipas of Greece proved his dance moves after he defeated the world number 1 Daniil Medvedev of Russia to reach the finals at the Cincinnati Open. Maximilian Kiefer, on his 249th attempt, lifted his maiden DP World Tour title. Despite trailing by 4 shots going to the final day of the Czech Masters in Prague, Kiefer carded a near faultless round of 66 to finish 16 under par and held a 1-shot lead over Green, who was making his way around the last 2 holes. And in other international news, the first day of a planned strike at Britain's biggest container port started, joining a series of walkouts by transportation workers that have disrupted economic activity across the country. Almost 2,000 workers at the port of Felixstowe walked off the jobs over pay, raising fears of severe supply chain problems. More than 75 people have been killed, over 12,000 homes destroyed and over 20,000 damaged by Sudan's seasonal downpours and floods. Drone footage from Al Jazeera province showed a village and surrounding area partially submerged by flood waters.
A quick look at what... And here's a look at some other news in brief now. Delhi Chief Minister and Aam Aadmi Party National Convener Arvind Kejriwal will embark on a 2-day visit to pole-bound Gujarat from today. Kejriwal will be accompanied by the Delhi Deputy Chief Minister Manish Sisodia, who's facing a CBI probe in connection with the Aam Aadmi Party government's previous excise policy. The duo will reach Ahmedabad today and address a town hall meeting in Himmatnagar. Stones were hurled at Chief Minister Nitish Kumar's cavalcade in Patna yesterday, following which 13 people have been arrested. According to locals, the incident happened at around 5 in the evening at the Sodimode Gauri Chuk police station area, where a road blockade was underway over the death of a local man. In the latest development, farmers will protest at Jantar Mantar against unemployment. As a result, heavy police deployment has been made at the Singhu border, with the police seen monitoring and securing the perimeter ahead of the farmers' protests at the site.
More trouble mounting on Aam Aadmi Party as there are people who are expected to be questioned by the CBI today also. We'll be right back after a short break. Stay tuned.
And in other sports news, a frustrated Thomas Tuchel insisted that Chelsea only had themselves to blame as they slumped to a 3-0 loss to Leeds. Unbeaten Leeds are third in the Premier League table, while Chelsea are 12th with 4 points from 3 games. Fourth-seeded Stefanos Tsitsipas of Greece proved his dance moves after he defeated the world number 1 Daniil Medvedev of Russia to reach the finals at the Cincinnati Open. Maximilian Kiefer, on his 249th attempt, lifted his maiden DP World Tour title. Despite trailing by 4 shots going to the final day of the Czech Masters in Prague, Kiefer carded a near faultless round of 66 to finish 16 under par and held a 1-shot lead over Green, who was making his way around the last 2 holes. And in other international news, the first day of a planned strike at Britain's biggest container port started, joining a series of walkouts by transportation workers that have disrupted economic activity across the country. Almost 2,000 workers at the port of Felixstowe walked off the jobs over pay, raising fears of severe supply chain problems. More than 75 people have been killed, over 12,000 homes destroyed and over 20,000 damaged by Sudan's seasonal downpours and floods. Drone footage from Al Jazeera province showed a village and surrounding area partially submerged by flood waters.
A quick look at what else is making news this morning. The Delhi police have issued a statement over the girl's death at the MP quarters. The police says that they believe it could be a case of suicide. The family of the girl, however, do not believe the girl could have committed suicide. Another video of an assault by a woman has surfaced from Madhya Pradesh, where a woman was seen assaulting an auto rickshaw driver in the state of intoxication. The police reportedly did not intervene in the altercation. At least 8 workers of the Congress party have been booked for burning posters of V.D. Savarkar in Dharwad. Reacting to this incident, Karnataka's Chief Minister Basavaraj Bommai has said that ideologies ought to be fought ideologically. The arrest came following a protest by the BJP in the Bajrang Dal in Dharwad in response to a poster of Savarkar being burnt. Farmers have called for an agitation in Delhi as their demands for a minimum support price, along with the resignation of the Union Minister Ajay Mishra, amongst others, have led to several farmers gathering at the capital in order to protest at Jantar Mantar. Police personnel have been deployed across the border ahead of gathering. A first-year MBBS student died under suspicious circumstances. It's a Republic super exclusive. Government asks the top court to reconsider its FIFA order. Megha Rao over the FIFA ban. Baichung Bhutia files intervention plea. All eyes are now on the top court. Raids, seizures and FIRs. Excise scam explodes as lookout notice is issued against 8 accused. Silent on mega charges, Sisodia and Kejriwal now take off to Gujarat. Mystery over girl's death in MP quarters in the national capital. Big questions arise. As the Congress party faces a massive backlash for the Savarkar insult, Savarkar posters now posted outside the Congress's office in Vijaypur. As the Gupkar Alliance calls for a strategy meeting at 11 o'clock, the BJP plans a counter meeting. The Andhra Pradesh Chief Minister is set to meet Prime Minister Modi. Speculation as the meet comes days after Chandrababu Naidu's meeting. Now, here's the latest that we are getting in the ongoing CBI probe into alleged corruption over implementation of the Delhi liquor policy. We are given to understand that 5 people were questioned. Now, they were questioned for nearly 12 hours. We are also given to understand that the CBI perhaps is going to look at more individuals who were either directly or indirectly linked to what the CBI says is a big scam. Anuj is reporting on this. And he is going to be bringing us the latest. He's outside Manish Sisodia's residence in the national capital now. Anuj, what we are also given to understand is that the ED is also now likely to file a case of money laundering against Manish Sisodia.
Exactly, that is something what we have been told, that this is going to be the entry of the enforcement director. But let me first tell you what is happening here at the Manish Sisodia's residence. As Manish Sisodia and CM Arvind Kejriwal today will be leaving for Gujarat, and any moment from now Manish Sisodia is going to come out, and what we have been told that he'll be interacting with us and we'll be talking to him regarding the latest, what exactly he has to say about the same. But if we talk about the latest, then let me also remind you that on Saturday we have seen how the 5 people were grilled, were questioned by the CBI in the national capital, the CBI headquarters, and these are the same people who are named there in the FIR which has been registered by the CBI. So what we have been told, this is expected to be more people today who is going to be questioned by the CBI related to the excise scam or related to this particular FIR which has been registered. We'll once again go with the visual if I can get a glimpse of Manish Sisodia if he's coming out, because any moment from now what I've been told, Manish before leaving to Gujarat will be interacting with us and will be talking that what exactly is the next course of action. But yes, when we are talking about the things, we have seen that the numbers of papers has been seized by the CBI. This was the multiple raid which was done by the CBI at the multiple location. 31 were the point, and that's the preparation going on for the Manish Sisodia's press conference, which is going to start any moment from now. So what we are telling to our viewers at this point in time is that Manish Sisodia is going to come any time from now, and he'll be interacting with us what exactly is going to be the next course of action. But we were talking about the latest. The CBI has already recovered the paper from Manish Sisodia's residence as well as the other places which was raided, including the former excise commissioner, including the deputy commissioner of excise. So all these were raided and the papers has been recovered. So we have seen the next course of action of the same. That was when 5 people from that very FIR which has been registered in the liquor scam was called in by the CBI, and there they were questioned. And now what we have been told today also, this is going to be, and what we are expected and what we have been told that this is expected, that more people are going to be there from that particular FIR also, because this is 14 to 15 people who are listed or who are named in that particular FIR. So they are going to be there in the CBI. Who all are the paper, I beg your pardon, people, we will have to wait who all are going to be questioned today. But on the other hand, let me also remind you that the lookout circular has been already issued against the 8 people who are listed there in that very FIR, including Manish Sisodia. So we have interacted with Manish yesterday also, the Deputy Chief Minister of the Delhi. And there the line taken is very much similar. The line taken is same, that we are going to go ahead, we are not going to stop. But any moment from now, this is going to be Manish Sisodia, the Deputy Chief Minister.
Just hold your thoughts for a minute, Anuj, even as we are waiting for Manish Sisodia to come out and speak to the media. Here's what Arvind Kejriwal, the Delhi Chief Minister, has tweeted. He says, and I quote, I'm translating this in English, he says, the rupee is being beaten, the public is troubled by inflation, unemployment is skyrocketing, and these people are busy are playing CBI, ED, busy toppling elected governments of the people across the country, abusing all day. To whom should people tell their problems? To whom should they go? How will such a country progress? So that's the tweet that's coming in from Arvind Kejriwal. I think I'm going to go back to Anuj on this one. Anuj, you know, we've heard all kinds of rhetoric coming in from the Aam Aadmi Party and its leaders, and you are now telling us that we're expecting to hear Sisodia also speak to the media. But they haven't so far spoken about the allegations that that have been made. They haven't rebutted in a sense to the points that have been made in the CBI's FIR.
Well, exactly. That is something what everybody is waiting for, or rather the question there is in everybody's mind. Because whenever we are seeing these press conferences which has been done by the Aam Aadmi Party, or rather when we interacted with Manish Sisodia, the Deputy Chief Minister, yesterday, when I questioned him and tried to question him about the same, this was again the same line which was taken. This is about the education model. This is about the health model. This is about the people, what they are looking. This is about 2024 that this is going to be Modi versus Arvind Kejriwal, and the people are going to move out. Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Arvind Kejriwal will be the face. These kind of lines we have seen, and talking about their own model, they are talking about their work which has been delivered, or rather which is in pipeline. But if we talk about this particular case, then we have not seen as of till now why this particular policy was rolled back. Why was the waive off which was given to the people as it has been alleged by the Bharatiya Janata Party, and CBI also working on the same angle? This is the bigger question. Now recently, as you were pointing it out, the tweet of CM, that's Arvind Kejriwal. So the line taken is very much similar as we have seen it earlier in the press conferences, and as we have seen the Aam Aadmi Party leadership, whether being it Manish Sisodia himself, whether being it Sanjay Singh, Saurabh Bharadwaj, the numbers of leaders of Aam Aadmi Party coming out with the same line. So that's the line which has been taken by the Aam Aadmi Party. Whereas we also have to keep in mind the line which has been taken by the Bharatiya Janata Party, because this is counter-attack, attack, again and again what we are seeing. Numbers of press conferences, one by BJP, then another by Aam Aadmi Party, then another by BJP. That is something what we are seeing from last 3 days. So that is something what we are expecting today also, that Manish Sisodia any moment from now is going to come out and will be speaking to us. Yes.
All right, Anuj, and we'll come back to you when that happens. For the moment, thank you for joining us, Anuj. And we are now cutting across to visuals that we are getting from the Jantar Mantar in Delhi. We are going to get those visuals for you in just a bit. But farmers, of course, will be holding a protest at the Jantar Mantar against unemployment. Ahead of this planned protest, security has been heightened in the national capital. Now, there are several sites where farmers are going to protest. Now, one of the key points that the farmers are making, of course, is unemployment. The other part of it is the minimum support price needs to be guaranteed. That's been one of the long-standing demands of farmers. Do remember that under pressure from farmers, the government had rolled back the agriculture reforms. Pictures on your screen right now are coming to you from 3 locations. We are bringing you the latest from the Ghazipur border, the Jantar Mantar, as well as the Singhu border. Right, so as I was pointing out, of course, protests simultaneously taking place at these 3 places. We're going to try and go across to our correspondents on the ground. Do remember also that the Ghazipur border and the Singhu border essentially were the hotspots for the farmers' protest that went on for nearly a year. And Jantar Mantar, of course, is the designated protest site in the national capital. Let's go across to Madhurima, who's reporting on this. Madhurima, give us a sense of what we're expecting today. Of course, security has been heightened in light of the...
मैं अरविंद केजरीवाल जी के साथ 2 दिन के दौरे पर गुजरात जा रहा हूं, और जिस तरह से दिल्ली में पिछले 7-8 साल में काम हुए हैं, शिक्षा पे, स्वास्थ्य पे, रोज़गार पे काम किए अरविंद केजरीवाल जी ने, महंगाई से लड़ने में दिल्ली के लोगों की मदद हुई है। और जिस तरह से अब पिछले 5 महीने में पंजाब में बहुत तेज़ी से काम हो रहे हैं, उसी क्षेत्र में, शिक्षा में, स्वास्थ्य में, महंगाई से लड़ने में, रोज़गार में, किसानों के लिए, उनसे प्रभावित होकर गुजरात की जनता भी अब केजरीवाल जी को एक मौका देना चाहती है। और मैं भी आज अरविंद केजरीवाल जी के साथ 2 दिन के लिए गुजरात जा रहा हूँ। 2 दिन गुजरात में अलग अलग जगहों पर रहेंगे, और वहाँ भी लोगों से यही अपील करेंगे कि 27 साल में भारतीय जनता पार्टी गुजरात की जनता के लिए, शिक्षा के लिए कुछ नहीं कर पाई, स्वास्थ्य के लिए कुछ नहीं कर पाई, रोज़गार के लिए कुछ नहीं कर पाई, वहाँ पे महंगाई से लड़ने में लोगों की कमर टूट गई है, उनकी मदद के लिए कुछ नहीं कर पाई। अरविंद केजरीवाल जी को एक मौका दें गुजरात के लोग, तो 5 साल में वो करके दिखाएंगे जो गुजरात के लोगों ने भारतीय जनता पार्टी के 27 साल के शासन में जितना अच्छा काम नहीं देखा होगा। इसके लिए हम आज गुजरात जा रहे हैं।
सर, किस तरह से को देख रहे हैं आप? आपको लगता है कि भारतीय जनता थैंक यू
That was Manish Sisodia. That was Manish Sisodia who just came out and has spoken about the visit to the Gujarat, and he stated there that he's going Gujarat with the Arvind Kejriwal, and this is going to be the 2 days visit. We will continue with the shots because he's leaving any moment from now. But the questions are again missing. As Manish Sisodia has not taken the questions regarding the same. If we are talking about the latest development, because yes, there is expected that Manish Sisodia, I beg your pardon, that more people from that very particular FIR is going to be questioned. They are going to be called in. We were to ask that question. The entry of ED is also expected. But yes, this was a small briefing of Deputy Chief Minister, that's Manish Sisodia, who briefed us about their visit. Manish Sisodia and CM Arvind Kejriwal visit to Gujarat. This is the 2 days visit, and we are continuing with the visuals. We are trying to get in the sense because Manish Sisodia any moment from now is going to leave. But we are talking about the press conference which has been recently done by Deputy Chief Minister, that's Manish Sisodia. He just briefed. This was a very small press conference, and that's Manish Sisodia who is leaving. We'll continue with the shots. We'll stay with the shots. And yes, that's Manish Sisodia who is leaving. And this is going to be the 2 days visit. 2 days visit to Gujarat. That's something what Manish Sisodia just briefed about. But if we talk about the excise scam, if we talk about the liquor policy, if we talk about the entry of Enforcement Directorate, the CBI doing the investigation, so there were some questions which was missing in that very press conference, because we were to ask that questions, but we were not allowed. Rather, we have seen a very small press conference, a very small briefing of Manish Sisodia where he stated about the 2 days visit of Gujarat. This is going to be Arvind Kejriwal. Let me remind you,